All right, Orc Hunters, check into the stream. How are y'all doing on August 8th, 2022, day 166/167 and for the war in Ukraine? Check into the stream. Comment how you're tuning in from, what we're all doing, what we're up to right now. The latest breaking news is the raid on Mar-a-Lago, FBI raid. There's protesters out driving past his residence right now. There's just a still camera there. This is where we cover the war in Ukraine, though. I have some people asking about it. There's plenty of news out there for it, but we're going to be covering the war in Ukraine during this stream. Everybody check on in. We got Fresno, California. Good evening. Good evening. How we doing? Sebring, Florida. Good to have you. Welcome, everybody. Check in. Comment what city, what state, where in the world you're watching from. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following the page. You have your notifications turned on so you never miss a stream. We're live every night at 8 p.m. Central Time. Thank you so much. Hey, become a member of the Facebook page, or excuse me, become a member of the YouTube channel. Become a supporter of the Facebook page to continue supporting my journalism and the work that I do here at Mercado Media. We got Detroit tuned in. What up, Minneapolis, Bakersfield, Victoria, BC, Canada, Aurora, Illinois, Corpus Christi, Texas. Good evening. Carson, Washington, New England, back at you. Thank you so much. Minerva, Ohio. Hello, Catoosa, Oklahoma, Des Moines, Iowa. Good to see you. We got Melbourne, Australia tuned in. Thank you so much. We got St. Paul, Minnesota, NL, Canada, Sydney, Australia. Welcome, everybody, again. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's just hop right in. I'm going to do the latest news that has come out about the war in Ukraine and the latest happenings, and then we'll do a full map breakdown and get into our video clip section of the live stream. So to start, Western and Ukrainian outlets circulated a report, which is likely false, of a Russian general allegedly threatening to destroy Europe's largest nuclear facility, the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, if Russia could not hold the plant. Multiple news outlets shared a screenshot from the Russian social networking site Vkontakte that claimed to cite Russian head of the Zaporizhzhia occupation garrison, Major General Valery Vasilyev, stating that Russia had mined the Zaporizhzhia NPP and that the plant would be either Russian land or scorched desert. The screenshot appeared to be a news report posted in a Vkontakte group run by Russian outlet Lenta Novosti Zaporizhzhia. The outlet itself claimed that the screenshot was from a faked group and denied writing the report. The Russian Ministry of Defense condemned the report and screenshot as a fake and claimed that Vasilyev was in Uzbekistan at the time he purported to have made the statement to forces at Zaporizhzhia. Regardless of the origin or existence of the original post, the reporting is unreliable. It is indirect and does not claim to cite an official statement or a statement made on any official Russian news or government website. That has to do with Russia's takeover of the NPP and the stationing of the military equipment. There was a false report that Russia threw out there, or a Russian Telegram channel threw out there, and Russia's denying it. It's just a fake troll Telegram channel. Ukraine picked it up, and as well as Western media, and reported it as fact, as if this is happening. And now more evidence is coming out that Telegram channel was just a troll channel. It wasn't like from the Ministry of Defense of Russia, which again, their messaging you can't really trust anyways. But at least when they make a message, you know that they're doing the exact opposite of what they say. Right? Well, at least that's the one thing with the Russians. You know that they're lying, but when they make a statement, you can at least decipher that they're doing the exact opposite of what they're saying. So there's at least something there. There isn't anything here right now. The reporting is unreliable. This likely misreporting distracts from the very real risks of Russia's militarization of the Zaporizhzhia NPP, which may include mining the plant and almost certainly includes the unsafe storage of military armaments near nuclear reactors and nuclear waste storage facilities. Bellingcat geolocated a drone video of the Zaporizhzhia NPP that was shared by Russian opposition outlet The Insider on August 5th. The video depicts Russian military vehicles moving in and around the plant, including military trucks and armored vehicles moving in and around the building containing the first of the plant's 6 nuclear reactors. Let's pull that up. This isn't the map update yet, but I have a link to that video. Some of this stuff just comes out right before I get going, so I can't get it queued up in my videos, but it's okay. I have a few videos ready to go already. Any new ones, it's too easy to add on. So here's the Zaporizhzhia nuclear more Russian equipment is being set up at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ernodahar, a new drone video shows. Here's a small thread with the geolocations and recent planet high resolution satellite imagery showing new military positions and strike impacts. Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So they're showing the Russian vehicles. Let's get the geolocation so we can pull it up on our map. Here's the video actually. Let's look at the video first, and then I'll pull up the geolocation. So here's at the Zaporizhzhia, the NPP power plant in Ernodahar in Ukraine.
Зрительной активности на Запорожской АЭС, оккупированной российскими военными. 2 августа на территорию АЭС прибыла колонна военных грузовиков. Они остановились между первым и вторым энергоблоками, а потом по одной машине начали заезжать на территорию машинного зала первого энергоблока через грузовые ворота. По данным этого источника, военные заминировали машинный зал. Другой источник «Инсайдер» сообщает, что на АЭС находится около 500 российских солдат и военная техника, в том числе БТР, зенитные установки и техника для радиохимической разведки. Он сообщает о том, что российские военные заминировали территорию АЭС, а мины и боекомплект российские военные хранят в непосредственной близости от энергоблоков под эстакадами.
So that just gives you a visual of the vehicles in there. Obviously, there's no translation really, but those are Russian vehicles driving around all through the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ernodahar. Okay, I'll show you where Ernodahar is real quick. Pull that up on our map. So Ernodahar is in the southern axis of Ukraine. It is to the northeast of Kherson, south of Nikopol. I'm going to zoom in right here. Here's Ernodahar. Okay. In this, it's got the reported Ukrainian partisan warfare, so people protesting in Ernodahar, the Russian occupation of the nuclear power plant. Let's pull that up on the satellite imagery. Where am I at? There we go. Here it is right here. Let's pull it up on satellite. Oh, you can see smoke coming out from the, here's the Zaporizhzhia NPP. You can see the smokestack coming out from the nuclear power plant. Let's see if we can get street view. There it is, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. That the Russians have put their military equipment all throughout like they did in Chernobyl at the start of the war. There is the Zaporizhzhia NPP. Let's continue on. Let's see if they got any geolocated locations there. Here's a better. I like this Twitter page here. They sharpen the video that some of these clips come out, and then they put it in a higher frame rate and slow it down. So let's see this in higher res. The same video that we saw of the trucks and the vehicles inside of the nuclear power plant. Here's a much clearer video. Hit that like button if y'all haven't. Spam the reactions, like the video, share the stream if you haven't. We're live for a couple hours tonight, every single night, covering the war in Ukraine. Last night we went for 3.5 hours. So just because I say 2 hours doesn't mean we're going to be locked at 2 hours. Sometimes we go more, sometimes we go just a little less, but... So you can see the Russian troops, the Russian vehicles driving through, parking in the hangar of the power plant. There's the vehicles, the same video that we just saw. It's just a little higher quality frame rate, a little clearer, so you can see it a lot better. This Twitter account, I gotta follow it because they've been doing this a lot more with videos that's coming out. Let's see if we can get a geolocation. Here we go. Russia's army hide their gear in Zaporizhzhia NPP. The 47, let's go here. Let's go back to the map. Let's pull this up now so we get the pinpointed spot of these vehicles. All right, so they're driving. So it's a little bit further away from where I was looking at. So good thing we did geolocation. So these vehicles are actually being stored in some of these some of these and some of the reactor buildings. See if I can get some street view here quick. No, that's not going to happen. We're not going to get a street view near. I can get as close as possible right here. Maybe we can see from a distance. Oh yeah. So here's from a distance. There's the reactors that the Russian military is literally hiding or putting their military vehicles in. Those are nuclear reactors. Okay, just like the Chernobyl disaster from that nuclear reactor in the late 80s. This is arguably a scarier situation, because if Ukraine shells it while the Russian military is there, if the Russian military provokes, it's just a bad situation all around. Very dangerous, very bad right now that the Russian military has their equipment and personnel in this nuclear power plant. Not a good situation whatsoever. While we're on the topic, I'm going to speed up one of my news reports that we were going to watch a little bit later, but let's watch it now. From Sky News, Ukraine war, about the United Nations condemning shelling around nuclear power plant within Ukraine. So this has to do with the Zaporizhzhia NPP that we're looking at in Inodahar.
Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station sits in a strategic position near the center of the southern front lines. The Russians, who now occupy and control it, blame the Ukrainians for shelling it over the weekend. The Ukrainians, who still have technicians operating inside the plant, say that it was the Russians.
No nation in the world can feel safe when a terrorist country strikes a nuclear plant. God forbid something irreparable will happen, and no one will stop the wind that will spread the radioactive contamination.
The nuclear power station was built in the Soviet era. 3 radiation sensors have apparently been damaged, and there was a power surge. But a Russian news agency says that the plant is still operating normally. The United Nations has called for inspectors to be allowed in.
Any attack to a nuclear plant is a suicidal thing, and I hope that those attacks will end. And at the same time, I hope that the IAEA will be able to...
The IAEA ain't going to do it. They were concerned when the last time that Russia took over the Chernobyl power plant. Now they're in Inodahar. Sounds like they're just going to be providing thoughts and prayers and concerns.
Have access to the plant and to exercise its mandate competencies.
AKA thoughts and prayers.
The Kremlin claims that Ukraine is preventing inspectors from reaching the nuclear power plant and has accused Kiev of holding Europe hostage. Ukraine completely rejects that and has said that the site should be a demilitarized zone.
The catastrophe on Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station would be 10 times more powerful than Chernobyl station. And definitely that would be suffered the whole Europe and the whole world. Zaporizhzhia power station delivered 20% of the all energy balance of Ukraine.
Russian forces are sheltering the power station in the belief that Ukraine won't dare hit it. The US has accused Moscow of creating a nuclear shield.
Got a nuclear shield in the south in Ukraine while Ukraine's counteroffensives are increasing. As Ukraine's counteroffensives are picking up, I'm also going to be getting, I also got some video for y'all about last night's shelling of the Antonivsky Bridge again, which at this point I am not sure why Ukraine has not just destroyed that thing. Like, why do they keep hitting it without destroying it? It's not completely destroyed. They've pushed back the available date for the bridge to be reopened now, so they've delayed the opening of the Antonivsky Bridge, but they haven't destroyed it yet. So that's the Inodahar, the Antonivsky Bridge. So we're just going to go slightly to the southwest in Kherson. So we're going to leave Zaporizhzhia. We're going to go zoom into Kherson now on the Antonivsky Bridge. Okay, we're going to zoom in. Let's go to the side view. They don't have any bridge views I can use still. See the bridge from this side. Oh, can't see it from here well. The best view of the bridge is from the other side of the riverbank. Oh dear, are we doing this again? Google. Are we doing this again? Okay. Probably being a pain. Being a pain for me. Don't do this. It's always when I'm like looking up Ukraine stuff on maps. Whenever I'm doing other things, it never does it. What's up, Kathy? Thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you so much. Go Kherson. Okay, we're back to where we were. Get you guys on the ground. Satellite, Antonivsky Bridge. And drop. There's a bridge from a distance. You can see Kherson in the background. This is that bridge that Ukraine continues to shell now. This is like the third week that Ukraine has shelled this bridge, and again they've delayed the opening, but they haven't taken it out completely. The bridge still stands. All right, so let's look at that real quick. Here's the Ukraine reported targeting of the Antonivsky Bridge again overnight. It was on fire. I was expecting a lot more damage. I got an after report video too as well, showing what it looks like during the daytime now after the shellings. Okay, so you can see it's on fire. This was breaking at the very end of the stream last night. So this it's Monday, so this would have been Sunday night into Monday morning. So Monday morning, again, it's Russian occupied Kherson. So the Russians woke up to the shelling of the Kherson Bridge, the Antonivsky Bridge. I'm gonna play it a couple times. It's a quick video. Okay, and then let's look at the aftermath of that. So those are the two videos that we had from last night, and then you have the third video today, footage from the Antonivsky Bridge during the daytime, so we can see what the damage report looks like.
Следователями Следственного комитета Российской Федерации проводится осмотр места происшествия, осмотр Антоновского моста Херсонской области. В ходе осмотра обнаружено 4 воронки от попадания ракеты, а также повреждения, которое получила строительная техника, производившая работы на данном мосту.
Why the scissors though? So you can see right there, at least it penetrated through the bridge, so you can see the water. So one of the strikes made it through. It's inoperable, the bridge is. So there's some of the damage. One more time. Showing the Antonivsky Bridge. Again, this is the third week that this thing's been hit. You can see some of the bigger areas. You can still drive vehicles on it, but they're filling their. You can see they're patching in some of the holes. You can see right behind this this Russian soldier here the holes being filled in. They've been working on this bridge to get it patched and get it back up and going. I really don't know why Ukraine has not just taken this thing out. Completely. Doing some measurements. So that was the video. That's what's going on in Kherson in the Antonivsky Bridge. That is the latest that has gone on there. So we have the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. We have the Kherson counterattacks, and I'm going to be going into all of the latest changes in the war and the map. And there's 3 fronts within Ukraine. Let's get into it. Let me zoom out. Let me get into the mode here. Let's do it. Let's do it. So day 167 of the war in Ukraine, let's get it. So the first 3 fronts in Ukraine are the 3 main fronts. You have the Eastern Front, you have the Southern Axis, and you have the Kharkiv Oblast. Let me circle those. These are the 3 fronts in Ukraine as of August 8th, 2022. You have the Southern Axis, the Donbass in the east, and the Kharkiv Oblast in the international border with Belgorod. I'm going to talk about each individual front and all of the changes that have taken place in the last 24 hours in each axis. Let's get into it. So the first axis we're going to be getting into is the Donbass in the east. I'm going to highlight some of the main cities that are referenced frequently. Let me zoom in. There we go. That's a good zoom. That's a good zoom right there. Okay. Red circles are going to be Russian-controlled cities in Ukraine, Russian-occupied, and blue are going to be Ukrainian-controlled cities, Orlivka, and then Donetsk. I'm going to draw some of the Russian advancing directions. Doesn't mean they're successful. It means just their attempts. Some of them have been, most of them haven't been. The latest successes have been north of, to the north of Horlivka and to the southwest of Donetsk, and we'll talk about that. So here's the Russian-controlled cities here and their advancing directions, and then I'm going to highlight the Ukrainian counteroffensive directions in which the Ukrainian military is moving. Okay, they're moving towards Izium while the Russians are reallocating their troops and moving them to the southern axis to assist in the defense of the south. I mean, we're seeing it. You're seeing the military equipment showing up at Zaporizhia and PP. That wasn't an issue a week and a half ago, because the Russians didn't move their military equipment down there yet. Now they are. So it's just further proof of the Russians moving their military equipment and everything that they can out of the east to go assist in that southern counteroffensive. And we're going to talk about each individual city here within this pocket of the Donbass, starting with Sloviansk. And I'm going to go into each change in each city, and then we're going to do a distance measurement of roughly how far away the Russian front is from these Ukrainian cities. And similarly, in some of the southern cities, as the Ukrainians are liberating villages and are approaching Kherson, we'll see how far away the Ukrainians are from Kherson and the Russian front. So let's start with Sloviansk. Russian forces did not conduct any confirmed advances northwest of Izium on August 8th. Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces conducted an airstrike on Zlayman, approximately 30 kilometers northwest of Izium, and shelled settlements north of Izium, including Husavrivka and Asivka. So no confirmed advances northwest of Izium. So that would be up here. So actually we're going to start. Let me delete that. We're not starting in Sloviansk. We're going to start in Izium, which is a Russian-controlled city. No advances up here in this green circle. This is a pocket. The Ukrainian counteroffensives have liberated some of the villages in this little pocket here, likely working to try to encircle Izium, to try to cut the Russians off on the E40 highway up to Kharkiv, to try to circle them around. But there hasn't been any changes from either the Ukrainian side, and the Russians haven't advanced and gained any territory northwest of Izium as of August 8th. Now we'll go to Sloviansk. That's the city I had circled. Here it is. Ukrainian-controlled city of Sloviansk. Russian forces conducted limited ground attack northwest of Sloviansk on August 8th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces conducted a failed offensive to improve their positions near Borodarichny. Russian forces continued to shell settlements between Izium and Sloviansk along the Kharkiv-Donetsk city line, and additionally conducted the artillery strike on Sloviansk. Russian journalist and mill blogger Evgeny Podobny claimed on August 7th, which was yesterday, that Ukrainian forces are continually forming new brigades in the Kharkiv Oblast, despite continuous Russian strikes, and projection that this force generation shows that the Ukrainian forces can simultaneously conduct advances in the Kherson direction and the Kharkiv Oblast. Help! They're advancing in Kharkiv. They're trying to encircle Izium. They're having successes up here, the Ukrainian military, in this pocket of the Donbass. Russians are having successes in the south, so we'll get to it. But in this pocket, in the south of the Donbass, not in the southern axis, the Ukrainians are winning in the south. But in this northern pocket, the Ukrainians are starting to have successful counteroffensives and are taking back villages near the Izium border in the city of Izium, northwest of Sloviansk. Okay, so that's all in this direction. I'm going to highlight that in the lime green. So that's all up in here. This is the advancing direction from the Russians, just to the southwest of Izium specifically. I'm going to zoom in quickly. Here's Dubrovny that I just talked about, Manzanivka. This is the latest Ukrainian counteroffensive successes that we've seen. The Ukrainians are liberating area and territory and villages as the Russian military is moving their soldiers to the south to assist in the defense of their southern-controlled cities. Ukraine's counteroffensives are picking up, and they have been. Let me readjust this back to where it was. Oh, there we go. Put that back. All right. Now let's continue. That was Sloviansk. So, in summary for Sloviansk, there was limited ground attacks, no territorial gains or losses, so limited ground attacks from the Russian military. Russian forces continue to shell settlements in the region. Ukrainian forces are forming new brigades in the Kharkiv Oblast to conduct advances in the Kherson direction and Kharkiv, so they can have a dual-faceted counteroffensive going in the south and in this specific region of the Donbass in the Kharkiv Oblast. So next we're going to talk about Seversk. No changes in Sloviansk. Seversk is to the east of Sloviansk. It's not marked on the map, but here it is. We have a super chat. Williams, Gordon, Umphrey, what is your red line for NATO ground troops? Further, I mean, that's not, you'd have to invoke Article 5 for that to happen. It's a lot. It wouldn't just happen. There'd be a lot, and Ukraine is a long way away from becoming a part of NATO, so it would be a lot. It would definitely be a provocation, or no, there already is a provocation at the NBP, but it'd have to be like a physical or something with the nuclear plant. That's what would be it. Me personally, the less that's going on in Ukraine, in terms of more troops going into Ukraine, the better. We just send Ukraine the equipment they need. They are fighting their own war. They just need the equipment to do so. They have old Soviet equipment from the Soviet Union, because again, Ukraine used to be a part of the Soviet Union, and so all of their shit is outdated. So if the United States or the West just sends them the equipment that they need, they clearly are capable of using it and fighting for themselves. They just need more of it. That's what they're asking for. So in terms of just in general, NATO, like ground troops, that's unrealistic right now, but definitely something that would open that, I guess, roadway would be a increased provocations or a physical attack near or around the power plant. That's for sure. Russian forces conducted, so this is Seversk now. Thank you for that super chat, and I will answer all super chat questions, of course, as you guys send them. Russian forces conducted ground assaults to the east of Seversk on August 8th. The Ukrainian General Staff stated that Russian forces attempted failed offensives in the direction of Verkho-Mayankansky, which is 5 kilometers east of Seversk, and 4 other unnamed settlements, but retreated with losses. So the Russians conducted ground assaults, retreated with losses. The Lugansk Oblast head Sergei Hadai also reported that Ukrainian forces neutralized Russian reconnaissance groups near unspecified settlements. Russian forces continue to shell Seversk and nearby settlements with tank, tube, and rocket artillery, and targeted neighboring villages, Hirivka and Ivano-Dorivka, with airstrikes. So just shelling around the villages around Seversk and the regions around. They had conducted ground assaults. They failed, retreated with losses. Retreated with losses in Seversk. So L in Seversk for Russia, stalemate in Sloviansk. Hasn't been any changes. Now we're going to go down to Bakhmut, which is just south of Seversk. And this is where the Russians have had success lately, in Bakhmut and around Donetsk. Let's see what they did today. Russian forces continued ground attacks to the east and south of Bakhmut on August 8th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian forces defeated Russian reconnaissance groups of unspecified echelons near Bakumatsky and Yakovlivka, which are villages approximately 15 kilometers northeast of Bakhmut, and that Ukrainian forces repelled Russian ground assaults near Zatsiv and Vershnia, villages approximately 10 kilometers southeast of Bakhmut. Russian forces likely seek to establish control over Soledar to Bakhmut's north and Zativsky and Bakhmut's south to set conditions to disrupt Ukrainian control over the T-0513 trunk road that supports Ukrainian frontline positions in northeast Donetsk. So they want control of that T-0513 highway. That is, we've been tracking that since Russia was moving in on Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. So zooming in quick. The Russians want control of this so they want to move through Soledar. So there's what the Russians want to do. I'm gonna circle Bakhmut. Okay, this is what we're talking about, Bakhmut. Here's the advancing Russian direction from Volodymyrivka and Vaslivka and Berestov. I'm going to put the highway in purple, or like pinkish, so you can see it. Here's the T0513 highway. Key ground line of communication that the Ukrainian military uses to transport equipment and personnel from Seversk to Bakhmut, one of them. And if the Russians are able to advance further through Soledar, which they're attempting to, this is the town of Soledar right here. Talk about it frequently. They only have a fraction of it at this point. Only have a fraction of it. But if they are able to if the Russians are able to punch through Soledar and cut off the Ukrainians at the T0513 highway, that'll cut off a key ground line of communication and a key supply line for the Ukrainians. That's the Russians' goal. They haven't had any success at it for the last few months. It's just what they're doing. This is their advancing direction. They've had incremental gains in the past week or so in this direction, in Soledar and south in Pisky. They haven't had any significant advances onto the highway or onto the city of Bakhmut itself in the past few weeks. So that's just a little zoomed in look at Bakhmut. Let's back out for a second. Go back here. Everything's back to where it was. All right, so staying on Bakhmut. Russian forces likely seek to establish control over Soledar to Bakhmut's north. That was the city that I showed you that's linking to the T0513 highway, and that supports Ukrainian frontline positions in northeast Donetsk Oblast, because that T0513 highway extends southward as well. So they want to cut them off to the north through Soledar, they being the Russians. Ukraine still controls Bakhmut. Here's Bakhmut. So the Russians want to cut them off at the T0513 to the north, and also in the northeast Donetsk Oblast. So that would be up here. So your T0513 goes all the way down into Russian territory, into Horlivka. So the Russians are looking to cut them off here as well. Just cutting Bakhmut off from the T0513. The Russians already have the E40 cut off to the south of Bakhmut, to the southeast specifically. The E40 goes all the way up to the Kharkiv Oblast, and if they were to cut them off, they cut the Ukrainians off from this highway. That's two major highways, two ways out that the Russians have cut the Ukrainians off from, and it's going to cause the Ukrainians to have to go up through Kramatorsk and go through Kostyantynivka. It's going to cause the Ukrainians to have to retreat further to the west, away from Bakhmut, if they're able to cut these highways off. The Ukrainians are going to have to move westward. Right now they're locked in. This is just if. This is if the Russians can take these highways. Right now they're not. They've had nothing but failed attempts at it. They're attempting to, but they haven't had successes. The latest success would be here in Pisky, reflected in the arrow in the yellow. And then before that, you got Novodorsky here that the Russians have advanced into. They haven't had any successes. They try and they fail. They get maybe a half or less than half of a village a week at this point, but nothing significant has changed. A week and a half ago, the Russians have moved and advanced a little bit further into Bakhmut to the southeast, but nothing's changed in the last week and a half on Bakhmut. So let's zoom out again. And then I'm going to do the distances after I do each individual city. It's just too much to go back and forth from the maps. So we're going to stay here for now, and then when I'm done with all of the cities in each axis, then we'll go to the deep state map and look at the distance between each city. Russian forces continued ground attacks to the northwest and southwest of Donetsk City on August 8th. So we're going to be talking about Advidka and Donetsk City combined. So I'm going to circle Advidka quick. And then I'm going to circle the region we're talking about in green. So here's Advidka. Circle the region in lime green, which includes Advidka and Donetsk. So Russian forces continued ground attacks to the northwest and southwest of Donetsk City on August 8th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian troops attempted to advance toward Adviivka, which is 5 kilometers north of Donetsk City, Pisky and Novelsky, which is 12 kilometers northwest of Donetsk City. Social media footage posted on August 7th previously showed Russian forces advancing within Pisky itself, and taken in tandem with the vague language of the Ukrainian General Staff report, Russian forces are likely focusing on advancing northwest through Pisky through positions in the center of the settlement. Russian troops additionally conducted localized ground attacks southwest of Donetsk City near Marinka and Svojenko. So let's zoom in on that. Let's zoom in on that. No, Pisky's down here. Apologies. Oops. So here's Adviivka. I'm going to zoom in right here, okay? Adviivka is in Ukrainian control. Donetsk is in Russian control. Okay, Russian advancing directions are trying. They've tried and failed to advance on Adviivka head on. Now they're going to have to go around it. All of the advances onto Adviivka from the south, east, and the east have failed, so they're going around. So here's the direction of Pisky with that arrow. And then Marinka is just even further to the southwest. Here's Marinka, to try to encircle Adviivka or go around it. So we'll go into each individual city here. Here's the town of Pisky. You can see according to the map that's claimed Russian control, have completed taking the village or the city at this time. We still need to see more evidence, but there's a video on the Russian Telegram channel. I can't. It's the media is too large to play on my computer. Telegram works with mobile applications better than the desktop, but there's a video of Russians inside of Pisky that is geolocated around this location here, and that would reflect that the Russians have advanced through Pisky if they have Russians standing there taking pictures and posting to their Telegram channels. So that's how you get the information about they have advanced further into Pisky. And then also the Russians have advanced into Marinka. Here's Marinka, just a little bit further to the southwest of Pisky. They have about half of the town according to the claimed Russian control on the map. About half of it. These are the latest two villages in this Donbass, in the Donbass region of Adviivka and the Donetsk Oblast. The Russians have advanced as of late. So you got the village of Pisky and Marinka in Adviivka. The Russians continue to fail to advance on the city of Adviivka head on, and are now having to go around and advance into some of these smaller villages around it. So that's in Donetsk. Zoom out some. There we go. Back like we never left. All right, so now that's the update for all the cities and villages in the Donbass. Now I'm going to go into each individual city and talk about how far away the Russian front line is from that city. So starting with Sloviansk. Here, that was actually, let's start with Izium. That was the first report that we had got of the Ukrainian counteroffensive on the town of Izium. So we're going to see how far away the Ukrainians are from the center of the city of Izium. Ukrainian advance from Dubrovny. Let's go from Dubrovny to the center of Izium. So the Ukrainians are about 20 kilometers away to the south of Izium with their advancing directions. Now let's go to the west. Oops. About 20 kilometers away to the south. Let's go to the west. In Petrivsky, let's go here, in Zavodorotsky. About 25 kilometers. So they're about 20 to 25 kilometers away from the heart of Izium in this pocket of the Donbass, as the Ukrainian counteroffensives are becoming increasingly successful as the Russians move their equipment and troops to go help with the defense of the southern axis. But 20 to 25 kilometers away in this pocket here from Izium. Next, we're going to go down south of that to Sloviansk, and this is a Ukrainian-controlled city. See how far away the Russians are from the center of the city. Let's go to the north. In the north advancing direction, in Svitavsk, they are 20 kilometers away, about 21 kilometers away from Sloviansk to the north. Okay, that's the Russian advancing direction. They are attempting to advance from there. Nothing but fails. To the northeast, in this little pocket on the other side of the river and the lake bed, Sloviansk and Mykolivka, they're about 10 to 15 kilometers away from Sloviansk to the northeast. But again, the Russians have failed to advance on Sloviansk because of the terrain. That's the easiest way to explain. The Ukrainians have strong defense, yes, but also this terrain, you can see where they're at, and you can see why they haven't moved. It's nothing but marshland, riverbeds, just tough terrain to be able to move across and advance from. There's nothing but tough land, and then it's wide open over here as well. So those 4K DJI camera drones, you're going to get caught trying to cross. That's why the Russians have had nothing but fails from Lyman. They were able to take Lyman. I think they took Lyman April, mid-April, maybe beginning of April. They haven't been able to take any further land since then due to the terrain. Just simple as that. The terrain is the terrain in the Ukrainian defense, including the addition of the HIMARS systems in the east. Let's go to Siversk. See how far the Russians are from the town of Siversk as of August 8th. How's everyone doing in the chat? Drop a hey if you could for me in the live stream. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. And then you can also see a fully edited version of this map update that gets posted to the channel tomorrow. The next day it gets posted. So 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern, a map update gets posted to the YouTube channel. It's a nice edited video, a much shorter formed version of this if you just missed it or if you're late to this map update. So to the north, the Russian line is about 7 kilometers away from Siversk, okay? About 7 kilometers away from Siversk. To the northwest of Siversk, we'll do the closest point possible, about 7 kilometers. So between 6 to 10 kilometers away to the north and to the northwest. Now let's go to the northeast. You can even go 5 to 10 if you want to keep those type of numbers. Because this isn't going to be a pinpoint accuracy here, but it's as close as possible. You got about 7 kilometers. So again, about that same between 6 to 10 kilometers away to the northeast of Siversk. Now let's go to the east. Oops. So 6 to 10 to the northwest, to the north, and to the northeast. 6 to 10 kilometers. Due east. About 10 kilometers, 9.91. So we're still in that 6 to 10 kilometer radius. Let's go to the southeast now. 12 kilometers, so a little bit further away in this direction, but still close, like 2 kilometers from 10. So all within that, all around that 6 to 10 kilometers, give or take some in the southeast of Siversk, but between 6 to 10 kilometers around from the north, the northwest, the northeast, and then 12 kilometers to the southeast from Siversk. 12.6, so a little bit closer to 13. Bakhmut, just south of Siversk. To the northeast, because these are the only directions that the Russians are advancing from. You got 11.16 kilometers away from the town of Bakhmut in Ukraine. So 11.16 to the northeast. Let's go to the east of Bakhmut. About 8 kilometers. 8 kilometers away to the east, and let's go to the southeast. The closest point available. That's their direction of attack. 9 kilometers away, so damn near 10 kilometers to the east of Bakhmut. Let's go to the south now, and the closest advancing point in the south of Bakhmut, 17 kilometers away. So you got 10 kilometers to the east of Bakhmut, and then to the south of Bakhmut, you have 17 kilometers away for the Russian advancing direction. Now let's go to Advitka, which is south of Bakhmut in the Donetsk Oblast. Okay. Advitka is still in Ukrainian control, so it's getting the blue. Very close here. We're going to have very close distances. I might have to zoom in some, actually. We're going to have closer distances here than the other ones. Here's Advitka. Okay. Get the distances now. Okay, to the north, and this northern tip. 7 kilometers away, 7.3 kilometers away in this northern tip from Advitka. Okay, to the northeast. About 6 kilometers away. 6 kilometers away to this northeast, and then Kaminka. Back and forth. To the east. 5 kilometers away. 5.12 kilometers. One more time, what was it to the north? 7. So all around about the same distance, between 5 to 8 kilometers away to the north and to the east. Now let's go to the southeast. Between 5 to 8 kilometers away from the front lines here. Let's go to the southeast. 4.6, damn near 5. So 5 to 8 kilometers. It's about the same as the east and to the northeast. Now let's go to the south. Ukrainian advancing direction, closest point, 3.7 kilometers away. So damn near 4. So it could be 5, all between. So all around Advitka, let's just go between 5 to all around, to the eastern, northeast, east, and southeast are between 5 to 8 kilometers away from Advitka, they being the Russians. Now let's go to the southwest. This is the only southwestern point. About 7.8 kilometers. So they're all within 5 to 8 kilometers away, all around Advitka on this eastern southern front of the Russians' advancing direction on Advitka. There's no Russian troops to the north, to the direct north, or to the west. That's the only way. That's the only safe passage through Ukraine and Ukrainian territory is going to be to the west. Anywhere to the east is all in Russian territory. So between 5 to 8 kilometers in Advitka from the Russian front line. So that's going to be it in the Donbass. That's going to wrap it up there. Let's get to the northeast in the Kharkiv Oblast in general for our map update. We're going to be moving on up, sliding up here to the international border with Kharkiv and Belgorod. Highlight some of the key terrain here. You got the key features. You got Kharkiv city, which is still in Ukrainian control. Then you have the Russian city of Belgorod on the other side of the international border in Russia. Let me get this map ready too. Let me going back here for distances. We got a $5 super chat from Lewis. Thank you so much. All right, got that ready. Let's get the report. Supporting effort number 1 is Kharkiv City. Russian objective: defend ground lines of communication to Izium and prevent Ukrainian forces from reaching the Russian border. Russian forces did not conduct any confirmed ground attacks northeast of Kharkiv City and focused on maintaining their current lines on August 8th, which that's what they've been doing for the last month. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces conducted airstrikes and UAV reconnaissance northeast of Kharkiv City. Russian forces also struck residential areas near central Kharkiv City with multiple launch rocket systems and continued to strike Kharkiv City and surrounding settlements with S-300 missiles, mortars, tanks, tank, tube, and rocket artillery. That's been about the cookie cutter report from the Kharkiv Oblast for last month, extending to the month and a half. So no confirmed ground attacks or successes from the Russian military. No territorial changes in the Kharkiv Oblast on the international border with Russia in the northeast. No changes. Let's go over to the deep state map and just get some distances. Let's see how far away Kharkiv is from Belgorod first of all. How far away is the center of Kharkiv to the center of Belgorod in Russia? Nothing's changed in the ground here. Okay, center to center, you got 71 kilometers, about 72 kilometers away from each other. I mean, that's what separates Russia and Ukraine here, and this conflict at the border. Now let's go from Ukraine, heart of Kharkiv, to the Russian front to the north about 22 kilometers away. They're a distance. This is the furthest distance away from a city that one of the Russian front lines. There's 3 axes in Ukraine: the Kharkiv Oblast, the southern axis in the east. This is about the furthest away from a city in Ukraine that the Russians hold a front line to. Okay, about 22 kilometers away from Kharkiv, to the north. Let's go due north, like straight north up here. 33 kilometers away, quite a distance. 33 kilometers away. Let's go to this northeast. And it's been nothing but Ukraine. The latest successes have been from Ukraine. There hasn't been successes from either side up here lately at all. But the latest successes have been from Ukraine in removing the Russians from their border and pushing them further to the east. So all of this right here, where the arrows are, this all was Russian territory at one point. I'm going to show you where it cut off. This was all Russian-controlled territory up here. It didn't get through Zolochev. That was all. This was red, okay, and that's the latest changes in the past month and a half, nearing 2 months now. The Ukrainians have moved the Russians away from the border and moved them further to the east, along the border south of Belgorod. Nothing's changed since then. So between 25 to 30 kilometers away to the north of Kharkiv and to this northeast. Let's get how far away they are to the east. Let's get how far away the Russian front line is from Kharkiv to the east. About 43 kilometers away, 44 kilometers. That's I gave them a little bit extra there too. So that's 44 kilometers away to the east, and the Russians are not crossing that river, so that's not going to change. The Ukrainians have pushed up to Stary Saltiv, and that was when they're having counteroffensives here. They were moving. Again, the focus for Ukraine is in Izium and then in the southern axis right now, because they got to take advantage of extra Russian weakness. But right here, the Russians have not been able to cross any further into Kharkiv due to the terrain. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the skill. They don't have the resources. They don't have the manpower to be able to conduct operations across this type of terrain. They failed miserably every time, unless they put their entire force generation behind it, like they did in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, and put every hand on deck to get that done. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to cross this river, and the Ukrainians are going to continue to move up incrementally. It hasn't been lately, but the Russians aren't crossing that river. And then they're not going to cross any of this territory either. This is all very difficult land and territory to advance in. It's all marshland, trees, open region, open territory. Let's go to it's just wide open over here. Villages are scattered. Look at, you're crossing big fields right here. Big fields, and then you get across the river. You got to deal with like a forest. Okay, you get embedded in the forest. You get through the forest, which the Ukrainians are hitting them in all of these types of wooded areas. Anyways, you have nothing but wide open farmland you have to cross to even get close to these villages. As you get across the river, it's nothing but farmland and wheat fields. Which is, for a UAV, those are the most clearest videos that we've seen. Is just like a Russian tank in the middle of a field, wide open. We just see it get destroyed because they can't. It's just not going to happen over here. It's very, very difficult terrain for even a modern. I can't even call Russian a modern military. They're modern because they have nukes and they have missiles, but their skills and their tactics are awful. So even with a trained Western military, this would still be hard to do in general. It's just tough terrain to cross. Marshland, trees, and wide open fields. Wide open. We can see it from here in 4K. You try crossing that, you're gonna get caught. That's why the Russians they're putting their military equipment in these berms in between along the road, in between these farmlands. But that's such a skinny piece of land to look at. All the Ukrainians got to do is scan it with their UAV. Oh, there's one. Or just keep going. Oh, there's another one. Pretty easy. Wide open over here. Very hard to do. And that was just one little grid square. That's along the entire river here on the Kharkiv Oblast. So Ukrainians aren't going to have, or excuse me, the Russians aren't going to have any success on advancing on Kharkiv. They're nothing but losses here, unless the Russians just decide to stage their conscription battalions in Belgorod and just like do a second wave along this E105 highway south into Kharkiv. That'd be like the only advancing direction that the Russians can advance from is from Belgorod, because they're not advancing from their held territory here in the east of Kharkiv. It's just not going to happen. Okay, let's go to the southern axis now. In general, again, nothing has changed in Kharkiv. Overall, nothing's changed. It's been very war of attrition. Russia continues to shell civilian populated areas. That's it in Kharkiv Oblast. Now let's go to the south, where lots of things happening. Lots of things are happening in the south, just like they are in the east. So I'm going to start with highlighting some of these key Russian cities first. These are the Russian cities that you hear of often. So Novokhovka, Kherson, Melitopol, Berdyansk, Mariupol, and I'm also highlighting Ernodahar. This is where the NPP power... Actually, yeah, I'm going to highlight that. That's hard to see. Can y'all see that? Make it a little bigger. There you go. That's where the NPP power plant is, in this northern peak of the southern axis here in the waterway. I'm going to highlight some of the key Ukrainian cities in the southern axis. You got Mykolaiv, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhia, Dnipro, and Odessa's over here. Odessa's over there chilling. Mykolaiv, advancing directions from the Ukrainian military. Also, I'm going to draw some here. No, I'm going to fix that. Also, I'm going to draw some from here because they are advancing along the Inhluets River, liberating villages and cities as they go along the specifically Andriivka and Davdiv Brid. The Ukrainians are liberating villages along this Inhluets River, which goes north and south to Kherson, connecting into the Dnipro River. Let's see, I'll highlight that in green in a second. Here's Zaporizhia. So I'm going to put this is where a lot of the Ukrainian counteroffensive successes have been, along this river, specifically to the north. Not really so much into Russian territory down here, but I just want to circle all of it to show you where the Inhluets River starts from. It starts down in Kherson. Ukrainians are liberating villages around it. So, Southern Axis. Russian forces continued focusing efforts on maintaining their current positions and preventing Ukrainian forces along the Southern Axis on the 8th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces continued shelling civilian and military infrastructure, using tank, tube, and rocket artillery, intensified aerial reconnaissance, and using UAVs along the entire line of contact. Russian forces also conducted airstrikes on Lazov and Andriivka, both on the eastern bank of the Inhluets River, and only located on the northern part of the T-2207 highway. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces also conducted airstrikes on Petrivskivka, Volodymyrivka, Novomalivka, and Poltavka. There we go. There's Poltava and there's Poltavka. That's Poltavka. So just response to the Ukrainian counteroffensives, response to the successes that the Ukrainians have had in liberating villages, Russians have responded by shelling villages and shelling civilian and military infrastructure along the entire eastern bank of the Inhluets River. There's been no changes in that specific region, no reports of any further liberated villages in that region either. Russian forces continue to target settlements in Dnipropetrovsk, Mykolaiv, and Odessa oblasts with artillery and missiles. Ukrainian officials reported that Russian forces launched 2 Kh-59 cruise missiles at Kamyansky and continued shelling Nikopol, Zlenodolsk, Marionets, and Velka Kostramka in the Dnipropetrovsk oblast. Russian forces also continued shelling settlements on the outskirts of Mykolaiv city, but did not launch any artillery strikes directly on Mykolaiv city. Odessa officials reported that Ukrainian air defense forces shot down 4 Russian Kaliber cruise missiles that were fired from the Black Sea. So you just have Russian forces firing cruise missiles and settlements in Mykolaiv and Odessa oblasts, so that's going to be over here. It's going to be all up Probably around between Novi Bruh or Novi Buh. You're saying Novi Bruh. It's Novi Buh. So come on, what are you doing? Why you do this? There we go. Okay. My apologies. Here is where they're shelling. Mykolaiv Oblast, Novi Buh, right back into the Dnipro Oblast around Kryvyi Rih. Even some in Odessa too, so let's extend it a little bit. So all that shelling is going to be inside of the green circle here. Quickly to show you, I can show you how the oblasts separate, but this is where the Russian shelling took place overnight. No advances by the Russian military, no counteroffensive gains in this specific region in the south by the Ukrainian military. Russians are likely shelling this region to soften to attempt to soften the Ukrainian artillery and HIMARS strikes from this region. Likely the Ukrainians have their HIMARS and their M777s, their French Caesar systems, staged back here behind Mykolaiv and Kryvyi Rih so the Ukrainians can advance. So that's why they're shelling. That's why the Russians are shelling this region. And specifically, here's how the Dnipro-Tversk Oblast. Let's do this quick. Get rid of that too. Here's the Dnipro-Tversk Oblast border. See, it goes right down into that Inhovets River damn near. That's everything to the right of that green is Dnipro-Tversk. Everything in here. This is all in Mykolaiv, kind of same thing. That's why Dnipro-Tversk Oblast and Mykolaiv Oblast, a lot of the Russian shellings that you're going to hear, or that you have been hearing, or you're going to hear reports of, is going to be in both of them because they border each other. They split right between Novi Buh and Kryvyi Rih. That's where the oblast separates, and then it also extends down here, and you have the Odessa Oblast to the left here of this line. So this is all inside of the Mykolaiv Oblast. And then this is all Dnipro-Tversk Oblast. It extends all the way up and around. You got the Zaporizhia Oblast inside of it. That's all Dnipro-Tversk Oblast. And then, so here's D, and then you got Z right here for Zaporizhia. D and Z. They're touched right next to each other, and then M for Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv, Dnipro, Zaporizhia. If you don't know them, now you know them. You gotta know them. Key oblasts in the south. Gotta have those things memorized. Ukrainian forces continue targeting Russian military positions and ammunition depots in Zaporizhia and Kherson oblasts. Melitopol Mayor Ivan Fedorov reported that Ukrainian high-mobility artillery rocket systems strikes destroyed a significant amount of Russian military equipment and manpower concentrations in industrial districts throughout Melitopol at night on August 7th to 8th. Fedorov also noted that Russian forces transferred a significant part of their air defense systems from Melitopol to Kherson during the week of August 31st to August 7th. Ukrainian officials confirmed that Ukrainian forces struck the Antonivsky and Kakhovka bridges at the night of August 7th or 8th, which we saw. And let's look at that right now. Well, Larry will include this as part of the map update. But if you missed it, I'm going to go back and pull it up again for the stream. Pull this up here. Or pull it up. I'm going to pull this up for the map video, I should say. Not the stream. The stream's seen it. But this is for the map video. This is going to be the strikes on the Kherson Antonivsky Bridge. It's up here. Shout out to editor Larry for the work on the map update videos. I'm just going to run through these one more time in case you haven't seen them. So here's the targeted. There's the HIMARS strikes on the Antonivsky Bridge in Kherson. We're going to need some sound. That would be good. There we go. All right, now let's look at the strikes on the Antonivsky Bridge in Kherson. Okay, you can see the fire, the plume, the smoke plume in the distance. Here's a further distance shot, a little bit darker, but you can hear the bridge being shelled by HIMARS strikes. And also here's a day after video from the Russian media or Russian side, because again, Kherson is a Russian occupied city right now. So here's the morning after from the shelling to show you what the bridge looks like in Kherson.
Следователями Следственного комитета Российской Федерации проводится осмотр места происшествия, осмотр Антоновского моста Херсонской области. В ходе осмотра обнаружено 4 воронки от попадания ракеты, а также повреждения, которое получила строительная техника, производившая работы на данном мосту.
Okay, so that showed the bridge, the aftermath of the Antonivsky Bridge and what it looks like after it was shelled overnight. Ukrainians need to keep hitting that bridge so they completely take it out, so the Russians can't repair it. But as of now, the Ukrainians shelled it to the point where they pushed back the reopening date. The Russians were going to reopen that bridge for civilian use, and that's been pushed back now due to last night's strikes. Ukrainian officials confirmed that Ukrainian forces struck the Antonivsky and Kakhovka bridges at night on August 7th through the 8th. Russian deputy head of the Russian Occupation Administration in Kherson Oblast, Kirill Strutsminov, stated that Russian officials will postpone reopening of the Antonivsky Bridge, scheduled for August 10th due to the damage to construction equipment near the bridge. Ukrainian Southern Operational Command spokesperson Volodslav Nazarov reported that Ukrainian airstrikes hit 2 Russian strongholds in the Kherson and Berislav districts, and that Ukrainian indirect fire destroyed a Russian ammunition depot in Sharivny, approximately 65 kilometers northeast of Kherson City on August 7th. Let's look up where that city is. Sharivny. Haven't heard of that one yet. I know Nova Kakhovka by heart because the Ukrainians keep shelling that one. Oh wow, small, super small village. That's a dot on the map. So Kherson, here's the main Russian controlled city of Kherson that we were talking about constantly. Right? We're going to be going up into this little speck up here that the Ukrainians shelled the Russian ammunition depot. That's actually north of Nova Kakhovka. Here's where the other city that the Ukrainians keep shelling, that the Russians have essentially stored all of their ammunition here. Then all in the Kherson Oblast apparently. Let's zoom in. Small village, Sharivny. Oh, we can go into it. See what it looks like. Oh wow! Yep. Cow right there. Well, you don't need a lawnmower and you got a good cow. Looks like they had a storm or something come through in this picture. This photo was taken in 2021. Very small town. Wow, grass in the road. Doesn't look like the streets get tended to. Go to a different portion. Wow, so again, this is the town that the Russians have put an ammunition depot in, and the Ukrainians shelled it and destroyed it. Go to a couple other locations. They're stationary. Every house is fenced in. Satellite. Over here. Ooh. Hard to see here. Open fields, though. Big open fields. Not too many camera angles here in Sharivny. That was it. Those are the 4 angles I can pull up. This being the main one. Okay. This being the main one. Shabrovny. There it is. Northeast of Kherson. Speck on the map. You blink, you miss it. Small village. Small village. That's going to wrap up the southern axis. That's going to wrap up the update in the southern axis. Okay, so essentially no territorial changes. Nothing's changed on the ground. You Russians haven't gained any ground. Ukrainians haven't gained any new, they haven't liberated any new villages in the region. We just have the Russians shelling the Mykolaiv, Dnipro-Tversk oblasts behind Mykolaiv to try to soften the Ukrainian HIMARS strikes and artillery strikes that are assisting in the Ukrainian counteroffensive on Kherson. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about mobilization and force generation efforts. So this is how the Russians recruit their military and the types and the battalions that the Russians are sending into Ukraine. Doesn't look like too big of an update for today. Not as big as yesterday's update. We had a lot of interesting information come out from yesterday's mobilization and force generation efforts. So, Chechen Republic head Ramzan Kadyrov stated that a Russian Special Forces volunteer group completed a 2-week accelerated tactical and fire training course at the Russian Special Forces University in Gudermes in Chechnya. Kadyrov stated that a flight of volunteers departed the Grozny airport for deployment to an unspecified area in Ukraine on August 8th. Well, the Chechens are north of Siversk, so if they're being deployed with the TikTok army, they're going to be up here. Unless the Russians, I haven't seen any reports of the Russians moving the Chechens to assist in their southern axis. Let me zoom out quick. In their defense of the southern axis. So the Chechens are north of Siversk in the Donbass. And we all know that there haven't been any successes on Siversk as of late. All of the advancements have been to the east. And the Russians, the last advance that they had on Siversk, they retreated and had significant losses. So new Chechen unit, or new Chechen troops being assigned to the Ramzan Kadyrov. They're at an accelerated tactical and fire training course. I don't know what type of special forces does a 2-week accelerated tactical and fire training course, but they're going to it. So now we're going to talk, that's it. Nothing new today for the mobilization and force generation efforts, just an update on the Ramzan Kadyrov's TikTok army that he's got. So activity in Russian occupied areas. So this is going to be within the cities that Russia has taken and their annexation plans and goals into the Russian Federation. Ukraine's main military intelligence directorate reported on the 8th that Russian forces are deploying less professional occupation forces and increasing pressure on local populations. The GUR reported that Russian occupation forces are increasing pressure on civilians at checkpoints in Kherson Oblast, particularly in Holyat Perstan. The GUR reported that Russian forces deployed a newly mobilized battalion of Russian convicted criminals, likely pardoned for their service, to Balikla in Kharkiv Oblast, and that cruelty, immoral behavior, and aggressive attitudes towards the local population have increased sharply upon their arrival. This report demonstrates the effect of Russia's wide-ranging attempt to mobilize as many Russians as possible, regardless of fitness for service. The GUR also reported that radicalized conflicts between Russian occupation units of different ethnicities are increasing, affecting the safety of civilians in occupied areas. So you got some infighting going on with the Russian military. Russia is sending their non-ethnic Russians to go fight an ethnic cleansing battle, and the non-ethnic Russians are starting to fight that back. The GOR claimed that Russian forces shot and killed a Chechen deputy commander of a unit in Zaporizhia for ethnically motivated reasons. The GOR also reported that intoxicated Russian soldiers driving an armored vehicle, an APC, knocked down an electrical pole in Zetnopilia in the Lugansk Oblast, cutting off electricity to the town. Newly mobilized Russian battalions are likely worse trained, less professional, and more brutal to occupied populations than professional Russian soldiers are. What are those? What are those?
What the fuck is that?
Or even conscripts who completed formal military training prior to their deployments. Russian forces may increasingly deploy low-quality, poorly trained units, and like those made up of convicts to control populations in occupied parts of Ukraine. Such deployments may reduce the competence of occupation authorities in counter-partisan operations and may increase Ukrainian support for movements that resist Russia's occupation. So maybe Russia's going to shoot themselves in the foot during this. Maybe Russia's going to be their own demise in this whole thing. They're bringing their troops that they had trained were ass already, and now they're bringing in literal criminals from the gulags and the prisons, low quality, poorly trained, poor health, they want to fight for Russia's ideology and propaganda, and they're going to die doing so. Russian occupation officials are beginning to issue formal orders to prepare for sham annexation referenda. The head of the Russian Zaporizhia Oblast Occupation Administration, Yevgeny Belitsky, said on August 8th that he ordered the Oblast Central Election Commission to, quote, to start working on the issue of organization of a referendum on the reunification of the Zaporizhia Oblast with the Russian Federation. Belitsky claimed that he signed the order after 700 delegates voted unanimously at the We Are Together with Russia event held in the Zaporizhia Oblast on the 8th. Study War has previously assessed that the Kremlin likely founded, coordinates, and promotes the We Are Together with Russia organization, or what we call in the United States a PAC. To create a facade of public support for the annexation and integration of occupied Ukrainian oblasts into Russia. Other Russian occupation officials amplified Belitsky's referendum preparation and congratulated him for following the path of Crimea. The Russian deputy head of Kherson Occupation Administration, Kirill Strimisternov, posted video footage of the telegram that he claimed that he showed residents of the Kherson Oblast, claiming that they are ready to vote in a referendum to join Russia. Strimisternov claimed that Kherson, quote, has already been liberated from slavery in the colonial regime of the collective West. Kremlin Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov announced on August 8th that residents of Kherson and Zaporizhia want to hold referendums to join Russia and claim that, quote, it is not us, the Kremlin, who are holding the referendum. Lie. Lie, 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 lie. And also just the fact that Russia had to cut off Kherson's internet specifically due to the massive protests against the occupation in which Russia switched from less than lethals to lethal ammunition and just killing any protesters. So it's all fake. None of the referendum isn't real, just like in Crimea. That was a fake, garbage, bullshit referendum. They're gonna try to do it in Kherson. The only difference is the Ukrainian military is 15 kilometers away. Let's do that real quick. Totally forgot to look at that real fast, and we'll have to splice this back into the Kherson update. Let's see how far away the Ukrainian military is from the heart of Kherson. I forgot to do this. Yeah, it sounds like we have anything else to do right now. So, Kherson. Let's see how far away the Ukrainian military is along the highway. 26 kilometers from the heart of Kherson. 26 kilometers from the center of the city. Let's do on the outskirts, right on the outskirts of the city. 11.94, so still between 10 to 15 kilometers away from just on the outskirts of the city. Let's go to the first road that turns into Kherson. Shoronobyavka, that's 19.33 kilometers away. So little under 20 kilometers. Let's go like between 11 to 20, because they were a little over 11 kilometers away from just the city outskirts. Onto the right when you turn into the city, they're 19 kilometers, and then how much are they from the city center? One more time. About 26 kilometers away. So let's just go from the city center then, just to keep it easy. About 25 kilometers away from the city center, from where the Ukrainian counteroffensives are advancing from, along the E58 highway. Excuse me, that'd be the M4. Excuse me, sorry. E58 extends from Kherson all the way to Mariupol east. This is going to be the M14 highway in Kherson. Okay, M14 highway that the Ukrainians are using to advance from. Let's go back to our interactive map, and the annexation plans in the south. I completely forgot to do that. I do apologize. Russian occupation officials are also attempting to incentivize Ukrainian cooperation with Russian data collection efforts that occupation officials will likely use to falsify the results of the sham annexation referenda, but are facing resistance. The Ukrainian Resistance Center reported on the 8th that Russian occupation forces in Kherson are expanding the number of one-time financial assistance locations in which civilians in occupied areas can receive 10,000 rubles, which is approximately $165, in exchange for their passport data. Damn. $165 for Russia to get your passport data, and you become to collect your information to apply towards this referenda. It's going to be completely fake and garbage. The Resistance Center reported that this approach has not generated much data, the collection that the occupation officials had planned, leading them to expand the number of locations throughout occupied Kherson Oblast. Ukrainian partisan Telegram channel Yellow Ribbon called on Kherson Oblast residents to mobilize and prevent Russians from holding an annexation referendum on the 8th, and asked civilians in occupied areas to provide information on Russian planning, collaborators, and troop movements. Yellow Ribbon also shared images of partisan supporters posting partisan posters and slogans in Kherson, Novokhovka, Melitopol, and Crimea on August 8th, and called Ukrainians to resist the passportization efforts in Kherson. So resistance going on in the south, the sham referendum going to be taking place. So it's going to be moving forward the exact same thing that they did in Crimea. They're going to attempt to do it in some of these southern cities in the southern axis as well as the Donbass. They already set the date for likely Lugansk and Donetsk will have the sham referenda annexation on the 11th, which is the hard date that they put out. But some of these southern cities, it'll be interesting to see if they're gonna annex Kherson with the Ukrainian military so close. That's why the Ukrainian military needs to actually shell that bridge, take that bridge off, and completely cut the Russians off completely from Kherson, and then start moving in on Kherson as these annexation plans are becoming closer and closer. Again, September 11th is the date that the Russians had put out for Kharkiv Oblast, the Donbass, and some of the cities in the southern axis. They won't get the Kharkiv Oblast. They won't get Kharkiv at all by September 11th. They're losing ground in Kharkiv. The concern is the cities in the southern axis. It's already the Donetsk and Lugansk are already ready for that to happen mentally. That they're going to be having the sham referenda there. Just copy paste what happened in Crimea and apply it to these cities that Russia is taking in Ukraine. It's going to be the exact same thing. Just a little bit harder in the south because the Ukrainians are fighting back. Reporting, so key takeaways from today, from August 8th, from day 167 war in Ukraine. Reporting of a likely falsified Russian statement distracts from the real risks of a Russian-caused nuclear disaster at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian forces continued to conduct attacks from and store military equipment near the plant's nuclear reactors, likely to play upon Western fears of a nuclear disaster and degrade Western will to provide additional military support to Ukraine. Russian forces conducted ground attacks northwest of Sloviansk and northeast and southeast of Bakhmut. Russian forces continued ground attacks northwest and southwest of Donetsk City. Russian officials postponed reopening the Antonivsky Bridge after a Ukrainian strike damaged the bridge and a nearby construction equipment plant. Russian forces are deploying less professional occupation forces and are increasing pressure on Ukrainian populations in occupied areas. And that is your map update. All right, map update complete. Now we're going to be getting into the latest video clips. I have to record all that, so it's like I'm like extra nervous when I'm doing that because I don't want to make Larry's job more difficult with the edits. Doing videos is new for Mercado Media. Y'all know I'm a live streamer. Making videos and editing videos and doing all that's new. I'm also not getting many views on them either because it's so new. I just haven't been a video creator. I do live streams. So let me know where you're tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world you are watching from. We're going to be picking up with some more reports that we have missed that I didn't include. from the map update and some of the latest combat footage from Rob Lee's timeline, as well as the Ukraine War Video Report on Reddit. We got Melbourne tuned in. What up, Dallas? Let me pull up the next video. While we're getting that going, I also need to grab some more energy. So comment where you're tuned in from. I'll read them. Give me a second. All right, here I am. All right, I had to refill. About to get into the video clip section of the live stream. Also, join us after this live stream on Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. I'll show you guys at the very end of the stream how to get to it. I'm going to be live. It's my gaming channel. It's a 420 friendly stream. Like right now, let's have a safety meeting. Excuse me. Safety meeting time. Spark one up. I think I need to switch. Uh-oh. I have to switch strains. I can't do the sleepy strain. Oh dear. I think I did already. Okay. Spark one up. 420 friendly stream. I'm a veteran, so I served in the military. I got some PTSD and whatnot, and other types of concerns. So the 420 friendly news coverage really helps me continue doing what I got to do out here. We got West Plains, Missouri. Thank you so much for joining. Cynthia, Kentucky. It's good to have you. Good to have you. Any questions y'all have in the chat? Any questions? I just went before I move on to the map update. 1 second. We're good. Before I move away from the map update, are there any questions the chat has about the territorial gains or losses while I'm here? I should do that more often. Any questions y'all have? That was a lot of information there. A lot of maps that we looked at, but that's all the key information that we go through at the beginning of the stream. Is there any questions y'all have about the map update? I'm gonna give you guys a couple seconds. How much damage does the bridge have? Not enough to disable the bridge, but enough to keep Russia from reopening it to civilian traffic. Who do you think is winning right now? Ukraine. Russia is winning in pockets in the east, but right now Ukraine has the advantage. It's going to be when Russia does the sham referenda and annexes cities into Russia against the Ukrainians' will. That's going to be a different conversation to have. But right now, in terms of on-the-ground war, Ukraine is. Any other questions? Everyone aware of the FBI raid? Yes. Yep. We are aware. I'll be posted about it on Mercado Media. We can cover it later on after the Ukraine war feed, but there hasn't been much about it yet. Will ATCAMs destroy the bridge if sent? Which bridge? The Antonivsky or Novakhovka? You like my hat? Thank you. Just reading some comments real quick, chat. Ask a question if you need to. I'm going to start doing this between the map update and the video clips from now on. Doom Chaser, Doom Chaser, Doom Chaser. Oh man. I don't know how to turn my mindset into that. I really don't. I don't know how to flip my mindset to see it from that point of view at all. It's just impossible. All right, let's continue on, y'all. Thank you for the questions. We're going to continue moving here. We're going to continue moving. And feel free to ask any questions as we go, though. Don't feel like that was the only opportunity y'all had. I do glance at the chat when I can every now and then. I'm going to start dedicating like some more time to that. So I'm going to read comments in between the map update and the video update because I do want to hear what you guys think in the chat. HIMARS rockets is a game changer for Ukraine. I want to see HIMARS in the chat. We have a HIMARS emoji for our members on YouTube. I want to see that in the chat on the YouTube channel here. So this is from Forces News. HIMARS rockets a game changer for Ukraine.
For Ukraine, these are being touted as a game changer. 4 M142 high mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMARS, being fired in unison, launching a salvo of guided rockets toward Russian positions. America is believed to have supplied 16 of these so far. They're GPS-guided rockets able to hit targets more than 50 miles away. For the Russians, particularly their logistic chains, the results have been devastating.
Devastating.
This was a Russian train carrying troops and supplies to the southern city of Kherson after a HIMARS strike. Ukrainian officials claim 80 soldiers were killed and 200 wounded. This switch to a deep battle tactic has helped Kyiv degrade Russia's ability to fight, disrupting its supplies of fuel and ammunition and destroying its command posts, and in the south, helping Ukraine retake territory.
What it's done is it's just made it harder for the Russians to do business. They're already overstretched. This is a real problem for them. And in that, these weapons are far beyond a tactical effect. This is strategic.
The Russians have been claiming they've been taking out HIMARS. It hasn't been verified at all. When the Russians take a HIMARS out, it'll be plastered all over media, and we'll see video of it, I promise.
Can shift.
You'll have video. It'll be a Russian report. You'll see a HIMARS destroyed, and you'll see it. Right now, if it's all words, it's not. No.
It imposed such a burden on the Russians that it shifts their ability to sustain operations, to launch operations. It may even influence strategic decisions to just give up areas that they can't secure. So yes, I think that these things are strategically important.
The Pentagon says Ukraine's used HIMARS to destroy 100 Russian targets, among them weapons caches, air defence positions and long-range artillery. Alongside HIMARS, Ukraine's also using M270 multiple launch rocket systems, or M.
That's the one people aren't talking about too much, but those are just as effective. That one's sneaking under the radar, those M270s, but those are just as meaningful as the HIMARS systems. They're just on track.
LRS to hit Russian positions. First used in the Gulf War, it carries the same launcher pod as HIMARS, but can fire 12 rockets rather than 6. Together, Britain and Norway have donated around a dozen of these.
These things will be wasted attacking frontline positions. They're devastating, but they can achieve so much more hitting behind the immediate combat zone. If the Russians are going to rush a tank column down a road to relieve an attack position, well, we know where that road is, and we've got its GPS coordinates. And I think you're going to see that sort of application, because the Ukrainians are fighting smart.
Ukrainian officials say they need 100 HIMARS systems and more ammunition. Washington has approved further shipments, but much to Kyiv's frustration, only on condition they're not used against targets actually inside Russia. For Ukraine, retaking Kherson would be a major victory, but with its forces having to ration the number of rockets it uses, success may well depend on its own supply lines.
And that's why you're not seeing strikes inside of Crimea, because Crimea is in the Russian Federation. It's annexed into the Russian Federation. So if Russia annexes these cities, if they're successful in their annexation plans, that's going to make it hard for Ukraine to strike these cities, because they're going to be annexed into Russia. They're going to be a part of the Russian Federation. And the deal with the West is that you don't strike any targets in Russian territory. So Russia's moving the border further and further west. As Ukraine's getting more and more equipment.
Used HIMARS to destroy 100 Russian targets, among them weapons caches, air defence positions and long-range artillery. Alongside HIMARS, Ukraine's also using M270 multiple
we saw
launch
that. My bad. I rewinded. There we go. So M270 multiple launch rocket systems. That's Ukraine says it needs more of those. More long-range rockets and HIMARS for the Ukrainian military. Okay. Next, we're gonna go look at these German-built howitzers that Russia is just propagandizing from here to hell, from here to high water. That the fact that Germany sent Panzers to help in Ukraine, but Russia's flipping that message and making it into something it's not. But here is the Ukrainian forces firing the big gun on a German Panzer 2000. It's a Panzer 2000.
Среди однозначных плюсов немецкой самоходной артиллерии ее скорострельность. Она наводится на цель и отрабатывает ее приблизительно в 2 рази быстрее, чем советські аналоги. Тобто те, що ви робили, наприклад, на радянській Саушці за 5 хвилин, ця робить за скільки?
Це робить за хвилину.
Netherlands provided 8.
набагато більше роботи. Потрібно було виставляти бусоль, потрібно було вручну прив'язувати гармату до координат до вогневої позиції, розраховувати установки, розраховувати поправки. Ця вся гармата робить сама, в неї є балістичний калькулятор, сама рахує, сама наводиться, сама стріляє.
Порівняно з нашою радянською технікою, це земля і небо.
В армії знаходжуся вже 13 рік. Я артилерист. Є досвід з гіацинта 2.36, Д-20, Д-30, 2.65 і панцергаубис 2000.
От з всіх перелічених, що найкраще?
Ну, звичайно, панцергаубис 2000, вона краща.
So the Panzer's the best.
Спочатку було складно, тому що все автоматично, нічого не зрозуміло було, але згодом ми недільку, десь півтори, і все вже воно пішло.
I'm telling you, if a HIMARS gets destroyed, there will be a report like you're watching right now from a Russian source that shows the HIMARS destroyed. Like, that'll happen. They need that. Russia needs that. Russia needs that to happen really bad. So as soon as it does, it'll be on their media, which we'll get to see.
Ми замітили, що з приходом таких систем артилерія противника вже не так себе почуває, як почувала до цього, коли ми також на радянських артсистемах працювали. Це видно по тому, що вони свою артилерію відвели вже трішки далі. Тобто раніше вони почували себе зовсім почували себе тут господарями. Їхня артилерія почувала себе господарями. Щільність вогню їхньої артилерії була набагато вища. З приходом таких систем, я говорю не за панцергаубіцу, я взагалі за натівські системи, да? Їх є багато. З приходом цих гармат...
It was poor video angle and the geolocation that was found was not even close to where they said that they hit to.
Артилерія противника вже не так щільно, не так часто і не в такій кількості працює.
Fire less often and in smaller numbers. German media reported the order could take years to complete. Well, Ukraine doesn't have years. They have that. They have some. It depends on how the United States flips here, or what happens in our elections, and how much support Ukraine continues to get. Ukrainian youth hold up cleanup raves to repair war-damaged homes. So here's just a more report on that. We saw one on Reddit. It wasn't from Al Jazeera, but it was from a different source, showing these cleanup crews that host raves, but they clean up the rubble in these civilian-populated regions while hosting a rave. Just watch. Let's see what.
This is the sound of a new generation of Ukrainians, unbound by war, resurrecting what's been lost. Each weekend, hundreds of young volunteers from across Ukraine and as far away as London donate their own money, raise more through crowdfunding, and hire coaches to carry them 2 hours north from Kyiv to get here. Then they go to work. They call it a cleanup rave.
We cannot all be on the front line shooting and struggling for our country, but we can do something useful here, staying at our homes, at our country. So someone destroys our country and someone needs to rebuild.
Russian rocket strikes turned the house from this into this.
Wow.
With no hope of saving it, the workers clear the way for reconstruction.
There's a spirit in the people that I can't find anywhere else. And yeah, it's really touching.
On March 5th, this man, his pregnant
How do you
wife,
link into volunteer groups to go to Ukraine to clean?
And his brother were in the basement when rockets struck. Somehow, everyone survived.
So many people have come together. I'm very grateful for that. We will try to adapt, rebuild, and move forward to victory.
Through pouring rain, searing heat, and summer sun, they work until the site is cleared. These volunteers came here to listen to some music, have a good time, and rebuild their country brick by brick. When it's done, Anton Polyak's father-in-law, who owns the home, says thank you. Their reward, a free concert from Ukrainian electro-folk star Onuka, who says she takes inspiration from the youth of Ukraine and its defiance in the face of an ongoing war.
Wow.
I do feel it in their eyes, and I think that if we have such powerful young generation, so impressive, so encouraged, I have no hesitation that Ukraine won't stand with this.
Then they party, as only their generation can. Celebrating in a torrential downpour in a cultural center gutted by shelling in the region where the Ukrainian army drove out Russian forces. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Ivanivka, northern Ukraine.
So Ivanivka, let's look up that. So he just gave us a location. Ivanivka in Ukraine. Where's my? Oh, where's my map? Let me pull up my Google Maps again quick, since I lost that. Show you guys where that report came from. Ivanivka. It's gonna be north of Odessa. Pull this up quick. So here's Ivanivka on our map. So this is on the red marker on the map of Ukraine here. This is where that Al Jazeera report came from. Town of Ivanivka. Wonder if we can go there. Can we go there? We can go there. So here's where they were cleaning up in the report. These pictures are from 2015. So just after the revolution had started. That same region, 2015. Does look nice. What's going on up here in this picture? Burning leaves? Must be. I would go on a bike ride on this road every day. It's like, it's just such a unique looking, like, just so unique looking. Very green. Roads are thin, skinny roads. The houses are so far in off of the road too, so you actually have some privacy too, outside, away from the main street on your neighborhood. So here's the town of Ivanivka that we had just seen that Al Jazeera report from the volunteers assisting the cleanup efforts in the town. These are some images from the town from 2015. Yeah, like Washington, or yeah. Some regions of Ukraine look like the Midwest too, though. In the United States, are similar. Lots of weeping willow trees. But definitely lots of trees, lots of green. Let's continue on. So that's from Ivanivka in Ukraine. Now let's go to the combat clip timeline, starting with a Russian T-90 with some cope armor. Starting off hot. Some cope armor, got a cope cage, cope umbrella. Try to soften the loitering munition strikes from the DJI drones, because that's not stopping a high mobility rocket or a significant piece of artillery. That's gonna soften the blow of a loitering munition, like one of those little grenades that get dropped from the DJI Mavic drones. That might help them there. They also have what appears to be a pig's head on the front, and some other type of animal that they have mounted to the front of the tank. So we got a pig's head on the front, Another type of animal on a piece of a wood log, and then a giant cope cage umbrella over the T-90. Yep. Like a boar's head. With a roof screen. Here you got what looks like a Russian Buick M2 9A316 transloader reportedly in Lugansk. That's some music, so I'm going to turn off music. What is that? What does that system do? It's a Buick M2. It's kind of hard to see that. You saw it at the very end. The Buick Tel heading west in... So we got the geolocation here. So here's where this is taking place in the video. Geo confirmed. Let's go back to the map. A Russian Buick M2 system. Is this where maps gets crabby with me? Yep. We're gonna have to. I'm going to pull up new maps here. I don't know what's going on with my Google Maps. It just stops loading locations after use. I don't know what the point of that is. Okay. Back to the map. Geolocation. Donetsk. Moving equipment. So they got a Buick M2 system to the east of Donetsk. In Shyastkov. See if we can go on the street there. Nope. Most of the spots are going to be censored down here. Oh, we got a couple of locations in the town we can go to. Couple locations in the city. Soviet block apartments. Common view. Here's another view of the city. Is it a Lenin statue? Also common in Soviet cities. That's the only two angles, and also something censored here. Ooh, what's that? Something got censored by Google.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, can't see what that is, so something censored there. Probably another statue. Likely another autocratic leader statue. But those are the only two views here in the town of Shistakov. That's where we see the video from the Russian M2 system traveling through there. So here it is one more time. It's a quick video. There it is. You saw the Z on it. Let's continue on. Continue on here. You got a video from Ukraine's National Guard of artillery strikes on Russian ammunition warehouses in the Kharkiv Oblast. So this is in the northeast along the international border with Russia. Strikes on Russian positions, Russian troops. Yeah, if only Russia didn't invade, then there wouldn't be anybody dying like there is now. This can be stopped when Vladimir Putin pulls out of Ukraine. So again, you're seeing the Ukraine National Guard striking ammunition warehouses in Kharkiv. Saw the extra sparks flying from the building. That's clearly an ammunition depot or an ammunition storage location. Where do you see it? Extra sparks there, right there. Clear indication that they hit an ammunition storage. All right, continuing on here. Video of Ukrainian UAV dropping munitions on a Russian VDV BMD-4M in the south. So you got a Ukraine dropping munitions on a Russian VDV BMD. I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing any audio on this one. That's a superimposed image of the... Okay. What is this? Okay. Yeah, okay. We're going to skip that. We can't see anything on that video. Photo of a destroyed Russian BM-21 Grad multiple launch rocket system truck. Oof. So, like, example, if the Russians destroy a HIMARS, you will see something like this from the Russian media in some way, shape, or form. You will see it. Promise. Continuing on here. Photos of Russian T-62 tank in the south. Look at all the trash. Got the 2000. Look at the trash all over it. 2000. They got their old ass MREs sitting right there on the front. Garbage riddled all over the tank. Z camo is garbage. Like things that you would find in a trash pile. That's Z camo. And old expired MREs. Boxes. There it is. Video from Russian 42nd Motorized Rifle Division showing T-90 tanks firing on Ukrainian defensive positions. I'm going to say yeah right on this. That was edited. That was clipped in. Okay. That was clipped in. T-90's doing that type of damage. Doing artillery level damage, dude. One thing we know for sure is these T-90s in Ukraine that the Russians are using have been completely ineffective. It's supposed to be some of the... it is supposed to be the big-ass big Panzer tank. It's supposed to be a devastating tank, and the Ukrainians have just completely made it irrelevant. The T-80 and the T-90 are supposed to be monstrous tanks. They would be if they had like a crew, like a trained crew, or even just give a Western trained tank crew on a T-90 or a T-80. Those things are supposed to be monstrous and scary. And the Ukrainians have just made them completely irrelevant. T-72, T-80, T-90, all three of them they're all facing the same fate. They don't have any advantage over each other. They're supposed to, but we just haven't seen it. Yeah, Russian armored vehicles have been useless. I don't know what this is, so we're gonna skip that because they're splicing in a picture of a tank firing and linking it to artillery strikes. That's ridiculous. Video of Russian Su-25 attack aircraft in Slovianorsk. Oh dear, I wasn't ready for the direction that word was going. Slovianorsk. Slovianorsk. Let me zoom in. Not Sloviansk. It's got a B in there. So, Russian Su-25 attack aircraft in the Lugansk Oblast. These are Russian jets. What was that? What is that thing? What is with the statues, dude?
What the fuck is that?
Where is this? I want to find out where this is now. Is it geolocated? I want to see that statue. Oh, and we have a better video too. Oh, can we get a location? I want to see that statue. What? That's huge. I gotta look where this is now. Copy. Likely not gonna be able to find it. Oh my goodness, gotta do this again, dude. Give me a second, let me load up my maps fresh again. We had a $5 super chat from William Andrew. In your estimation, how many hours or days would it take to knock out the oof? I don't know. There you go. I don't know. Because the naval I'm not really tracking the naval campaign, more so because I was in the army, so I don't know anything about ships or planes. Like some of y'all are tracking the flight tracker. Don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. If I find out though, and I have an answer for you, I will definitely answer you with an educated answer. But right now, I don't have one. Right now, I do know the Ukrainians have been destroying the Black Sea Fleet without a navy, so it'll take time regardless for Ukraine. Okay, so I put the location up. Slovianbursk. It'll be to the northwest of Lugansk. Okay, northwest of Lugansk. Let's see if we can find that statue. It's a giant statue. Oh, of course we can't. Satellite. That's a ridiculously large statue. It's got to stick out. I wish there was a geolocation to make life way easier. What's this? Oh. Is it on the outskirts of it? I'm not seeing it over here. Russian Su-25. There's the river. Let's see if there's any other features I can find that'll make it easier to find that. Let's go to the other video. I want to see where this is. I want to find that statue. Here's a higher quality. Got the Russian O with the line through it. It's on like a little hill in a wide open area. It should be easy to see from a satellite. Let's go back. Let's try to find that. It's in got a plaza around it. What's this? Is that it? That's got a plaza. Can't tell that's a statue though. I think you'd be able to tell. It doesn't look like it's it. Got a plaza around it. Big statue. It's not like I'm not seeing it in the city. Maybe it's over here. The mound is a square. Okay. There's really no geolocation for this. Let's try. I'm gonna look one more time. No geolocation recalculated. No. If anybody can find the location, the geolocation of that statue, would be okay. Okay, good idea. Statue in Slovianbursk. I was trying to find it because I'm stubborn. There's a picture of it. The combat monument. Combat monument. Lugansk media. Is it in Lugansk? I'm not getting a location though. That's what it looks like, bigger, like big screen. Let me zoom in. That's what it looks like, a clearer image of it. That's huge, dude. Maybe it's just from the angle it looks big, but I think you'd be able to see that from the satellite. Okay, let's go here first. Is this it? This isn't in that town that is... Okay, that's not it. That's not it either. Another monument, but that's not it. Okay. Not seeing it pull up here. Let's keep looking. This is the mission now. Find the statue. Okay. Combat monument. This. Monument to Prince Vladimir. Is that the name? No, that's on the... There's so many. That's not it either. So many statues. Kyiv will dismantle. So there's our old articles. You look out for new chatters? Of course, every time. Here's images of it, but I can't find the... Okay. Alexei Yamarenko. There's a full screen image of it. The monument is... Oh, man. Bugging me. I found it. Put the geolocation coordinates in the chat and I'll copy paste. Let's go back to the map. You found it? All right. Come on. We can do this. Thank you so much. Just highlight, copy paste. Of course. I wouldn't be in news if I didn't have OCD. I can't find that on there. That's not a good geolocation. I need a better one than that. 48 degrees north. I'm not getting a location on that one. I know. I copy pasted Speedy's quick. I copy pasted Speedy's location. It didn't work. Got another one before we move on. I'll give it one more chance for the geolocation before I move on. Follow the road to the north and turn left. I'm on a mission, chat. We will find this. Okay, so you said follow the road to the north and turn left. Okay. Okay, so we're following the main road, I'm guessing. Follow the main road. Turn left. Like follow the road up to the north. Might have to let this one go, chat, and I'll have to come back with it tomorrow. Spending a lot of time trying to find it. I'm usually good at this. There it is. Hey, okay, shout out to Speedy. Speedy found it. There it is. That is not... That's south. Okay, so it's to the southeast of Slovianbursk. Shout out to Speedy for finding it. Let's zoom in. There it is. There's the statue. There's the shade. Now we can move on. Successfully founded the statue. Okay, there it is. I wish I could do a ground view of it. Can't, though. I know, literally. South, so that's southwest of Slovianbursk. North of Stesinov. It's literally in the middle of all of these cornfields. Look at, that's where it is. It's a World War II. Let's look at, we can look it up. Statue in, I'll read you the history of it, what it means. It said it's a World War II statue. Oh, let's pull up the, I got a tweet. There's another amazing monument in Svitobursk in the Lugansk region. It is based on a famous World War II photo of a man believed to be Alexei Yamarenko, who died shortly after its capture. So it's a statue of a Soviet soldier from World War II. There's the original photo. And there's the statue. And a pistol in the statue. And there's some of the pro-Russian. You got that orange and black colored flag with the words on it. Not in the shape of a Z, because this was before then. We got the same colors there, but that's what that is. Really, literally, middle of nowhere. There it is. I would have never found that. I was looking all through the city. You just pull off to the road and just go see the statue. It also looks like a much bigger plaza in the video than it does in that geolocation. Doesn't it? Looks much bigger. Oh, confirmed. At least the video is accurate, though. Moral of the story is I was interested in the statue because it's huge, but the other reason too is it's to confirm that this is where it says it is. So it's in Lugansk region. It's just south of the city that it says it is, and we found the statue. Shout out to Speedy for assisting. Good job. All right, let's continue now. Now we can continue. I'm over it now. Video of artillery strikes on Russian soldiers by Ukraine's 503rd Marine Battalion. We put Halloween music to it. Yep. Well, it's a Soviet soldier from World War II, so you're gonna see hammer and sickle stuff around it. So again, this is Russian artillery strikes. Excuse me. Whoa. Ukraine artillery strikes on Russian soldiers by Ukraine's 503rd Marine Battalion. Some sulfur there or what? They hit something in there. First of all, they destroyed that entire house. They destroyed that entire piece of infrastructure there. They got the Halloween music. But then there was that plume had some color to it, huh? Maybe it could be honestly, it could be just the sun angle. Like it's clearly either early morning or late night. It could be just it's colored because of the light from the sun. That's what I'm thinking actually. Because I'm seeing the same color over here on the trees. So actually, I changed my statement. This looks like it's just light from the angle of the sun. Okay, just those are just normal strikes. I take back my assumption. Video of artillery strikes by M77 and MSTAB howitzers from Ukraine's 44th Artillery Brigade. Some of the footage was previously seen, so some of it's old. If you've seen it, let me know. Artillery strikes by M777s and MSTAB howitzers. All right, so that was from Ukraine's 44th Artillery Brigade, firing at Russian targets with M777s and MSTAB howitzers. Here's reportedly footage from Ukraine's 44th Artillery Brigade showing FH-70 artillery strikes on Russian Ural trucks in an ammunition storage building. I've been seeing more and more strikes on ammunition storage buildings. First time, totally. Never. What strain y'all on in the chat for our 420 friendly viewers? Shout out to anybody that's working a sober program. Any of sober, any of you in recovery in the chat? Completely welcome to those that are stone cold sober and are working that type of a lifestyle. So if you're a part of that community too, of course. It's because I'm not trying to like hack into the microphone too, y'all. I don't want to like draw viewers away because I'm coughing into the mic. Strawberry and Mints, California sober. Shout out to you. I'm 3 years recovered. 3 years in over 3 years in recovery myself from my vice that almost took me out. So shout out to everybody that's in recovery too. I am 420 friendly because again it assists with my mental health significantly. Sour Patch. Sober and happy. Good for you. 7 years sober. Shout out to you, Anna. So this is a little of a longer video here. This is Ukraine's 44th Artillery Brigade striking Russian Ural trucks, and then clearly you can see at the end here they hit the ammunition storage. Again, if you want to know what's what in these videos, like is the Ukrainians just saying they're hitting ammunition storages every time? No, you can physically see the sparks coming out from that's a clear indication whether it's a Russian strike on an ammunition depot or a Ukrainian strike on an ammunition storage. You're going to see sparks coming out like you see in the video right here. That's clear indication that an ammunition storage was hit. You usually see them fly quite a distance and have a smoke tail behind them. So ammunition, when it blows up, it's got sparks that comes out looking like that. Here's a video from the sniper that we had seen from last week, from August 1st, from the Buryat sniper in Ukraine, from the VDV's 11th Air Assault Brigade, with a captured Ukrainian Zaboryar with it's a sniper rifle. Got a Russian sniper in this video. I'd try an Australian beer, Michael. I'm not a big drinker though. Just not really my thing. I mean, I will. You know what I mean? If it's a social, if the occasion calls for it, you know what I mean? But like, if I'm going out just on like say it's a Friday or just a Saturday and there's just no plans, which I don't go out anyways. I'm usually with y'all or doing softball, but I'm probably not gonna drink. Just I get sleepy and I don't know. I feel like I did that enough. I'm a millennial. We did all of our drinking in when I was young. I was getting into the bar in Fairbanks when I was 19. They didn't care. So I got all that out of the way when I was young. I'm over it now. Not really my thing. All right. That's the sniper rifle. Here's what we saw that a couple times now, but if you've missed it, at this point, if you just started tuning into the coverage, here's footage from the aftermath of the overnight shelling of the Antonivsky Bridge in the Kherson Oblast. This is I'm showing this so many times today because this is like the biggest happening overnight into today. So here it is. Between this and the power plant.
В ходе осмотра обнаружено 4 воронки от попадания ракеты, а также повреждения, которые получила строительная техника, производившая работы на данном мосту.
You could see them filling. I want to know though, are they like, how are they patching these holes though? Like that doesn't seem patchable. You know what I mean? Like how do they patch? How do they patch? Whatever. Maybe I'm dumb. There's like a lot of bent rebar there, and like that's structural integrity to a bridge, right? Like you need that. Okay. Here we go. A Russian Ka-52 helicopter, Vickers ATGM, reportedly on a Ukrainian tank in the Kherson direction, which we saw yesterday. And these videos, I mean, they're these Russian videos. This is like the new layout now. They're very hard to tell what's going on. Their watermark like blocks a lot of what you can see, but apparently in that lower right is allegedly a strike on a Ukrainian tank in Kherson. This looks like the same video that we seen about a different strike, or damn near similar. I swear. Looks very familiar. Footage of a Russian Lancet loitering munition strike on a Ukrainian checkpoint in the Kherson direction. So Russian Lancet loitering munition strikes on Ukrainian positions in Kherson. This is in the southern axis. This is the city that Ukraine's counteroffensives have been advancing on. Map hunting for features, yeah. I haven't done that in a while. Oh, wow. Okay, don't see then. So again, that was a Russian Lancet loitering munition on Ukrainian checkpoint. Hold on. Really? So this is allegedly a Ukrainian, what are they saying in the... Good point. Commenters on here are on point. They wait for the... So, listen, so... This is just an example of the Russian strategy and how every time they say we are not targeting civilians is garbage. Because clearly right here, you see the street doesn't have vehicles in it, so there isn't a civilian there going through the checkpoint, right? So they're watching it right now, and then they wait to send the drone to strike the checkpoint when the civilian vehicle approaches. So now there's civilians there. So it was clear. Could have taken out the checkpoint with the soldiers there, right? It had just taken the soldiers out, but they waited for the civilians to arrive. Orlan UAV footage of Russian artillery strike reportedly on a Ukrainian MT-12 Rapira anti-tank gun in the Pisky area. This is the town that the Russians have advanced into in Bakhmut. push back the Mercado or the Snack Squad stream again. We're at 2.5 hours tonight. I think it's going to be that map update. We're doing a more of an extensive map update now, or I should say, I'm expanding my map updates to include more information. So those are taking a little bit longer in the beginning now. That's okay, no rush. Russian T-80 BV tanks moving through rail through Kazan. So let's look up where this is. Let's go where the town of Kazan is. Every time, something wrong with my Google Maps, y'all. So we can see where these vehicles are traveling through. Okay, it's going to be in Russia. It's going to be to the east of Moscow. Let me move back my... I got to move back the Snack Squad stream, so bear with me. Let's go 11. Probably going to be 11 o'clock. Okay, so here is Kazan. This is where the video we're about to see the Russian vehicles and equipment on the railhead traveling through. I don't have an exact geolocation right now, but this is the city of Kazan in Russia. T-80 BV tanks heading to their demise in Ukraine. Actually, I have a better video. That account that does that slow-mo, and there it is. This is the account. I'm following it. Do a good job. Darius is... a lot clearer so you can see the tanks and what they got. Heading to the front lines in Ukraine through Russia. Future cannon fodder for HIMARS and javelins. What Cybertrump 2077 is doing is bait. It's for sure. Like, that's a blatant act of it. Just don't fight through it. Probably a paid one too, actually, because it's just so specific. No, it wasn't on a loop, but a minute 19 long. Promise. Look at one solid video. All right, that was a clear video of that. Same thing. Video of a Russian Deputy Defense Minister Yanush Yekharov awarding Russian soldiers. So you got Russian soldiers getting some awards. For their war crimes in Ukraine.
За мужество, отвагу и самоотверженность проявляют при исполнении воинского долга награждаются.
So Russian award ceremonies look like. They're not censoring these guys' faces. Why does it seem like none of these guys standing here have spent a minute in Ukraine?
Служу России. Служу России. Служу России.
None of them look like they've been to Ukraine for a second. Who is this like sleepy ass leader of this? What unit is this? The Wish Battalion? What is going on? Look at dude on the look at this guy over here that was on the left is like got the sillies over here or something. Look at this guy. He can't sit still, he's got the sillies. This dude's got his arm moving. Fuck, dude. Oh, hold on. Let me hide my camera. There we go. Look at the guy behind my camera. Look at his arm wiggles. Shit's annoying, dude. This freaking uniform is the worst. Why'd they get us these? Why do I have to wear this? Such discipline. Look at moving around at attention. Like, what is this kind of attention to? Can't stand still. Yeah, I'm not buying this. They're either graduates on their way to Ukraine, but it says that they're awarding. They're getting awards. The next time I see you, you will be in a box. Damn. Well, there's a video of a Russian award ceremony. That's what they look like. No, there isn't any that look different. They all are unique, though. That is an example of one. Photos from the opening ceremony of the annual Russian-Mongolian Selenga 2022 exercise in Mongolia. Russian-Mongolian joint exercises. Oh. Okay. Okay. They're doing some joint training, apparently. Just doing some marches, I guess. Doing some, just doing some marching. They got colored little fair-going flags out there, too. They're doing some races. Doesn't look, they got 2 tents out there. Lots of photographers, though. Look at the photographers. Oh, I'm blocking it again. Lots of photographers here. Drilling, well, it just looks like a ceremony. While his rifle's pointed directly at this dude's head. I can't with this military, dude. It's the worst. Russian military. Let's continue. Video reportedly of Russian Krasnoyarsk artillery strike on a Ukrainian tank in the Pisky area. This is south of Bakhmut. This is the village that the... Let's pull it up on the map quick. In case you haven't seen it. The town of Pisky. It's going to be to the south... to the southwest of Advidka, on the other side of Donetsk. So Pisky is here. Here's the town of Pisky. You can see the Russian advance into it. They're advancing here. The yellow is the new space that they've taken. And then you got the Ukrainian-held city of Advidka directly to the northeast from that location. So here's Advidka. And then Donetsk is on the other side. Here's Donetsk. Right on the other side in Russian territory here. Where the Donetsk People's Republic come from and all that. So again, this is Krasnoyarsk artillery strike on a Ukrainian tank in the Pisky area. Ukrainian tank in the wide open. I don't know either. You notice that too? It's just right in the middle of the open field. And whenever that happens, that vehicle on either side, if it's Russian or Ukrainian, is getting blown up. It's what you're in the wide open and they have drones. Video of a captured Russian BTR-82. That's why it's even extra of a war of an attrition, because advancing is so difficult because their drone capabilities. Russia's drones are way worse than Ukraine's, but they still have some. They can still see like the outline of the tank, yeah, or like the outline of a vehicle through their drones. It's not as high quality as Ukraine's drones are, but yet they can still see shapes. And Russia doesn't care if it's precise or anything anyways.
Сніму хоч, як російські війська в болоті тонуть.
Got the Z on the back of that.
Так, нахуй, воюють.
Captured BTR here. These are Ukrainian soldiers.
Колесами повністю, да? Нахуй, болото. Ромчик буде кокаєм.
Okay, so Ukrainian soldiers with a captured Russian BTR. You got photos of Rozgavirda Spetsnaz in Ukraine, including Yevgen, so that's Russian National Guard. Some Russian National Guard troops here for the Instagram. Got the Z on the back. Troop transport vehicle. Continue. A Russian Ministry of Defense video of Eastern Military District's Orlan 10 UAV operators. So I was just talking about it. Russia's drone capabilities. They're trash, right? They have their garbage compared to Ukraine, but yet they still have something, right? They still can monitor the air, and if you have a vehicle in the wide open like that, like, it's clear as day. It's in a wheat field, and it's a big, wide open target. Russia's fell to that fate more than Ukraine has, but regardless of what side it is, as soon as you drive your vehicle in that open space, it's getting hit. Here's a Russian Orlan 10 team. Boom! Oh, dang it. Gotta power it up. You gotta put the, like, you're starting up a lawnmower. So like I said, they're shit, right? Shit, very ass, very bad, but yet they still have them, and when you're in a wide open space, even this piece of crap can still see you in the wide open, right? Sounds like your weed. Yeah, that sounds like a weed whip. We got a weed whip engine on that thing. One more time with that. Told y'all they were bad. I wasn't kidding. Operator Starsky, shout out Operator Starsky in this channel. Already dissected one of these like 2 months ago. They're literal garbage. Like, look at that, dude. Look at the tools they're using to get this thing set to go. Like something that you get in a damn Little Tykes toy, or like a construction set when you're like a child, to get the pieces to put it together with. They're like colored and like you're putting a school project together. Like they got duct tape, dude. You got to duct tape the wings together. Oof. Oh my god. Just so bad. Beep, beep, beep. It almost like doesn't make it off the stand. It's like shaking. Better be careful. Literally like a lawnmower or like a weed whip. Continuing. Okay, that might be it for the Rob Lee's timeline. Okay, so yesterday, Russian accounts posted photos showing the remains of an AGM-88 anti-radar missile. This appears to be confirmation that Ukrainian aircraft have been modified to carry them. AGM-88s. What are those? What are they? Anti-radar missiles? Undersecretary of Defense Colin Kahl. In recent packages for Ukraine, we've included a number of anti-radiation missiles. Oh, am I reading that wrong? Wait. Anti-radiation or anti-radar? Those are two very different things. Conflict of information here. Is it radar or radiation? Those are very two different. They're very two different things. Okay, let's just look it up then. We're gonna have to look up a video because that's two different things there. AGM-88. What does it do? High-speed anti-radiation missile. It's a harm. There you go.
Increasingly sophisticated growing threat must be suppressed.
Oh, geez. This video, when is this video from? 1986? Oh, dear. This is when the teacher rolled in the TV when you had a substitute and the light went off and you had the teacher roll in a TV on the cart. Oh, man. It was the best days.
Increasingly sophisticated growing threat must
Well, these
be
are old.
suppressed. And it is with HARM, the high-speed anti-radar missile. Developed by the Naval Weapons Center, Naval Air Systems Command, and
old.
Texas Instruments Incorporated, HARM's broadband
We got the
guidance
music and
section,
everything. Let's go.
adaptive retargeting, digital autopilot, and high-speed maneuverable airframe yield the most formidable defense.
This might be early 80s, actually. Late 70s, huh? This is not late 80s. This might be early 80s, actually.
Weapon system in
Got the
production
music.
today. Launched from over the horizon or in quick reaction, HARM is a unique weapon system, proven through years of testing and evaluation. HARM is currently integrated on the Navy's A-7E and FA-18 attack aircraft, and is soon to be integrated on the EA-6B and
God, these are
A-6E. On the F-4G Wild Weasel aircraft, possible candidate weapon for...
Okay, I thought we were going to get more information than that. Let's do a different video. That's old. Oh, here we go. Nope. It's so hard to trust some of these. These are just garbage. This has some good views on it.
Всем привет.
And I'm not going to be able to understand that. So it's an anti-radiation missile.
HARM stands for High Speed Anti-Radiation Missile.
Okay, HARM. Just remember that. HARM, high-speed anti-radiation missile.
It is air-to-surface, designed to home in on electronic transmissions from surface-to-air radar systems. It is basically a SAM killer. It is fire and forget. The missiles can be fired long before the attacking aircraft enters radar detection range.
Oh, wow.
Then, detects the radar signal and descends towards its target. These missiles are combat-proven, used extensively in U.S. service. It has a range of 111 kilometers.
Damn.
So, a HARM can be fired from well outside SAM coverage, allowing it to hit any SAM with its radar. It's a potent weapon. Its main strength will be in helping HIMARS. Fire some of these before a HIMARS volley to neutralize any active SAMs, allowing the HIMARS rockets to hit unimpeded. And the psychological...
So this is going to help this is going to assist in the HIMARS strikes to make them even more devastating.
...effect may lead to SAM operators not having their radar on, scanning the air constantly. That's what happened in Iraq. These missiles helped keep many SAMs silent. But this is a very potent weapon, especially if used in conjunction with HIMARS to take out SAM defenses or ground attack strikes.
Well, that's what they're going to use. So HIMARS in combination with the HARM. HIMARS and HARM. Causing harm. All right. Anti-radar missile. All right, Ukraine's getting those. Need that. Let's go to the Ukraine War Video Report on Reddit and see if there's any videos that we missed during the timeline or on YouTube. This is kind of just cleans it up. Any latest videos on Reddit. A Russian tourist harasses Ukrainian refugees in Salzburg, Australia. So more Russian Karenism here. More Karening.
Россия победит, Россия победит, ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Чей Херсон? Да, Украина. Уже референдум проводят. Да. Нахуй вашу Украину.
All right, there you got Russian Karens. going up to, we're seeing more and more of those videos of Russian tourists in other countries and speaking big. Speaking big. For a Russian citizen who shouted insulting phrases towards Ukrainians in Germany, booking canceled her booking to Vienna. Dang. Treated.
Какого хуя у меня только что отменили...
Oh man, do they all look the same? They all look like Karens.
Букинг в Вену.
We need the tiny violin. Hold on. I need to have this one ready next time. Okay.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Блять, какого хуя у меня только что отменили этот букинг в Вену. Мне заблокировали только что мою страничку на букинге и... Блять, какого хуя у меня только что отменили этот букинг в Вену. Мне заблокировали только что мою страничку на
Got your booking canceled.
букинге и...
Can't travel. Done. Unemployed RF legal immigrant Yulia. Oh, some more on this. In Salzburg, Austria, this Russian woman attacked 2 Ukrainian women, calling them. So this is that woman. Glory to Russia. Let us organize a referendum in Kherson, etc. Reap what you sow. Reap what you sow. There's a video. We've just seen that. Damn. Well, that was quick. That was quick karma. Karma served for everyone that was just mad. There you go. Now you can rest well knowing she's not getting home. They canceled her booking. From Foscani, Romania, 300 kilometers from Ukraine border, HIMARS units marked with a Romanian Damn, about 10 HIMARS right there. About 10 HIMARS right there. HIMARS in the chat. Oh, shit. That could be game-changing if Ukraine's getting those. Oh, God. Okay. Not right now. We'll come back to that. I'm not ready. Well, actually, oh, God. We'll come back. UAF continues to stretch to Kherson for watermelons. What? Looks like the... Hey, anybody in the chat? I'm going back into gaming history here. Anybody in the chat ever play a game on the PlayStation 2 called Smuggler's Run? They got the motorcycle out there. I swear in like Smuggler's Run 2 there was some vehicles that had guns on them too. It was like a Smuggler's Run lobby. Oh dear, we'll come back to that. Unless we have to now. What's this? Oh, just talking about Amnesty International. We saw the oil refinery in Moscow. What is this? Okay, just a screenshot of a video. Unadulterated fascism journalist Mardon encourages authorities to, quote, if not shoot Ukrainian teachers who refuse to teach in Russian, then at least burn their homes and send them to gulags in our good old tradition. Also asks why they didn't shoot family of a non-collaborator. The actual video. I wish it was translated.
Не знаю, выселить их из квартир, которые... Ну вот что-нибудь так.
It's not translated. Oh dear. This is a day after Russian Duma said on state TV, "We will come for you and kill you all." We saw that yesterday. Remember this guy who got fake scolded by the host saying, "We aren't like that. Stop talking like that." He says right here, let's just do it. We're already there. Russian state TV media watch. Again, we watch these not to consume the Russian media in terms of we want to listen to their narrative and whatever. It's this message is being heard. This message is being received by many in the West, especially Russians, and people are believing this. And so it's still important to understand what the message is, who it's going to, and the effect of it. I sincerely hope none of y'all are listening to this like as if you're going to be inspired by the message here. That's not why we listen. Okay, don't turn off your inspiration. You're not here to like get your like, whoa, holy shit. It's like these pieces, this type of media, including media in the West too, especially in the United States. There's a certain audience for this, and you figure out through watching it, and it takes time, but you eventually put the pieces together and you're like, oh wow, this is for this person. Oh wow, this media is trying to reach these type of people. Okay, so here it is, Russian state TV. Let's see what they got to say. What's the caption? We should, oh god damn it. Okay, well, he got raided tonight, so here it is.
Гегемона скоро ждет своя перестройка. Дональд Трамп заявил, что во многих аспектах США стали страной третьего мира. Ну а Байдена Дональд назвал самым худшим президентом в истории. Причем Трамп заявил, что Джо нанес стране столько вреда, которые не смогли нанести даже 5 худших президентов США вместе взятых. При этом, кто входит в эту пятерку, Трамп не уточнил, входит ли сам Трамп. Разумеется, наш друг Дональд точно решил в нее не входить и еще раз баллотироваться. Также Трамп заявил, что некомпетентность Байдена чревата Третьей мировой войной. Визит Пелоси на Тайвань Трамп назвал глупым и дающим Китаю дополнительные козыри для давления. Это при том, что республиканцы, как правило, более негативно относятся к Китаю, чем демократы. Но скоро выборы, а значит, Китай резко может стать для республиканцев во главе с Трампом другом и важным партнером. Business as usual.
And they know it too. I don't know why they fast forward the Trump parts.
Совершенно очевидно, что Украина – раковая опухоль в центре Европы, которая дает метастазы. Мы видим эти безумные шоу, акции трансгендеров в вышиванке, которые становятся символом современной Украины в глазах западных обывателей. У общества с такой ориентацией нет будущего.
Fox News wishes they could use this rhetoric on their channel, dude.
В этом плане мне нравятся те консервативные ценности, за которые выступает президент Дональд Трамп. Мы должны поддержать Трампа, и не надо стесняться. Мы должны поддержать тех американских политиков в виде Трампа, в виде других здоровых европейских сил, которые выступают за нормализацию отношений Запада с Россией, за отрицание безумной политики нынешних элит в Евросоюзе и в Вашингтоне.
It's been happening. They're just going to be loud. They're going to be loud about it now because they're at war. And they need the support from that wing of the GOP because they're going to be very anti-Ukraine. They're very anti-helping Ukraine. We'll have to explore more with China and Taiwan and how that is going to affect the election cycle coming up. But clearly, Russia's banking on it. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for that to happen so that way Ukraine gets less support, because that's going to be one of the campaign talking points, as well as all the other issues that we have within the U.S. All right, so that's going to be it for the night. We're going to end on that. I don't have any like good videos really. to watch at this point. But hey, if you want to come hang out and take your mind away from all of the geopolitics in the world and the war, I'm going to be live on Snack Squad TV after this stream is over. I already have it scheduled. If you just hang out on the YouTube channel, I will link you to this YouTube channel. You guys can come hang out with us. I'll be live for a few hours tonight, like about 3 hours, playing some Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's a great story. We have an amazing community over on Snack Squad. Shout out to our Snack Squad community. So head on over to this channel or just hang out here on the YouTube channel. Facebook, I hope you join us over on YouTube. YouTube's a free app. Just go download it. Come join us. It's got a live chat. Everything that you have on Facebook, YouTube has it too. Come over there and hang out with us. That's going to be it for me tonight. You guys are awesome. Shout out to the Orc Hunters. Shout out to the Snack Squad. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Shout out to all the members of the YouTube channel, the supporters of the Facebook page, everybody that sent stars, super chats, super stickers, all that good stuff. Plan this week for a fundraiser for Ukraine on Thursday. I'm going to plan it. I'm going to decide where we're going to be sending money to, what organization, but plan for Thursday's stream to be a fundraiser stream. So if you haven't sent money or donated money to Ukraine or to Ukrainian organization in a while, prepare to on Thursday. Okay, so thank you guys again. That's going to be it for me tonight. Tune in every night to live streams at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern on Mercado Media on YouTube and Facebook. You can also catch map breakdown updates of the entire map breakdown portion I did at the beginning of the stream, posted tomorrow at 11, and then also a video summary for the war in Ukraine, just going over the latest video clips, and I narrate over that, and that's posted between 5 and 6 o'clock Central Time here on Mercado Media. Thank you guys again. Have a wonderful night. See you guys on the next one. Take care.